All right, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. It's the fourth round of the Women's FA Cup and we're finishing off this FA Cup weekend as Arsenal take on Aston Villa. Should be a good matchup between these two sides. One of only two matches in this round of the competition that features just two WSL sides. So it's going to be interesting to see, Harry, how this matchup plays out. We've seen obviously Leicester-Tottenham earlier today. Those two sides played in quite close proximity against each other last weekend and then again this weekend. So they had a good understanding. But what we get from these matchups when both sides are in the same division, it can go either way, can't it? It can either be a lot closer or one side figures the other out and then they can take advantage of that.
Yeah, very much so. Although it's two sides in the same division, FA Cup games always throw in surprises and always can throw a bit of a curveball in there. So it will be very interesting to see how they both suss each other out. Knockout football brings teams to play different ways because there isn't an option of just settling for a point or trying. You win or lose. Someone will walk away from this being knocked out of the cup. So it does, change slightly how you set up. So although they are two WSL sides, it's going to be a very, very good knockout football match. We know they're both sides with a lot of quality, and I think they're going to push each other all the way. Of course, a lot of the focus will be on the magic of the cup, the non-league sides. I think there's 5 or 6 fourth-tier teams that are currently playing in the fourth round. But these all WSL affairs, they can prove to be some FA Cup classics.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Arsenal fans, as represented in the live chat, feeling somewhat frustrated by their draw on Manchester City take on FC Bournemouth. Chelsea beat Palace yesterday. United faced third tier Burnley. They're all games that are very comfortable for those teams. All teams, apart from Crystal Palace there, who aren't professional football clubs. And so it is a disadvantage for Arsenal at this stage to have to play Villa. It happens with the draw. Every season someone's going to get a difficult draw. It's the nature of it. But this is a particularly difficult draw. A Villa side that we know Arsenal struggled against in recent history. Failed to beat them in either of their meetings in 2025. A draw earlier this campaign and a 5-2 loss back in April. So we've seen Villa be able to get one over Arsenal before. Now, granted, that result back in April was a very rotated Arsenal side due to the fact they had the Champions League final on the horizon. The game earlier this season, there's no real excuses for. That was just Arsenal struggling at the start of this campaign. And those struggles have continued into this part of the season. But is there a feeling that Villa can once again get one over Arsenal?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, not only because we've seen it before and we know that Aston Villa are, seem to have a real knack of making things difficult for Arsenal. But, as I say, it's FA Cup football, it's knockout football. All kinds of things can happen. And if Villa get on top early or they get an early goal, then suddenly it puts Arsenal in a real difficult situation because Villa have got something to hold on to. And that's what we always say about these ties for the big sides. Don't give your opposition something to work with, because if Villa go 1-0 up today, they can sit deep, they can put 11 players behind the ball and just hope that they get through the game. Even if Arsenal score one goal, it would still go to extra time and then potentially penalties. So whatever happens for Arsenal today, they can't afford to really give Villa anything to work with. The problem with that is that when you're going up against another WSL side, that is easier said than done. Man United today, they haven't had any problems with giving Burnley anything because of the quality difference. But Aston Villa will come in and look to disrupt Arsenal today. So it's going to be very, very difficult for the Gunners to just simply shut them out and not allow them chances.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let's start by diving into the lineups for this game. We are at Meadow Park, the second home of Arsenal women, so we'll start with the hosts. It is a 4-2-3-1 for Arsenal today. In goal, Annika Borber keeps her spot, a game she likely would have played anyway, but with injuries in the side, it's a necessity that she starts. In the back four, it's a full-strength side, bar the missing Leah Williamson, as Foxwood, Moy Catley and McCabe line up. In the pivot, it's the preferred option of Little and Mariona Caldente. In the wide areas, Smith on one wing, Mead on the other, Russo in the 10, and Stina Blacksenius leading the line. So that Blacksenius-Russo connection is something we've seen develop this season. Arsenal like to press in that 4-4-2 when they don't have the ball. We're going to see, though, with Blacksenius in that role, them try and stretch that backline a little bit more. Is that something that could work today against Aston Villa? Can they draw Villa out effectively enough to create that space in behind?
Yeah, it's really good depending on how Arsenal do on the ball. If you, as you say, if they can get Villa to go high, if they can get Villa to commit players forward, the space will be there for Blackstenius. The problem is going to come for Arsenal is if that Villa and that rightfully can. If Villa refuse to come up and they sit deep and they don't allow any space behind them and they keep the gap between the back four and the goalkeeper is very tight, then you're limiting what Stina Blackstenius can do. So for Arsenal today, they've got to find a way to get Villa higher up the pitch. If they can force Villa to come high, Blackstenius will have space to work with, and we know if you get Stina Blackstenius in behind, she's probably going to punish you. So I think that it can work for Arsenal today. Their biggest problem could be if Villa just sit deeper, but it's then on Arsenal to drag them out. Yes, Villa might set up to play defensively, but that's they can do that. It's on Arsenal in this game to move the ball nicely, drag Villa out of their system, and then look to pounce in behind. I like using Blackstenius if they could get it to work today. I like using both of her and Russo because you have that presence up against what is going to be a very physical and strong Aston Villa backline. So I don't mind using two strikers to, if they do manage to throw their weight around a little bit and make it difficult for those Villa defenders to settle. But it's really going to depend on what Arsenal can do further back in the pitch, because they've got to draw Villa out. If they don't do that, then it could be a quiet game for Blackstenius.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you surprised by how strong this Arsenal team is? They've got a League Cup semi-final coming up on Wednesday. They obviously have a league fixture back next weekend against Chelsea on Saturday. They then play FIFA Champions Cup. There's going to be a lot of tough games coming up in a quick proximity. The next 4 have to be wins. So you'd think we would see their strongest 11 in those. The strongest team possible really here for this Arsenal side. Are you surprised by that, or do you think this shows perhaps that Arsenal are putting a lot of eggs in the FA Cup basket?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because, of course, it's the FA Cup. It's a prestigious competition. It's a competition Arsenal have won 14 times, I believe, now. And you're going up against another WSL side in Aston Villa. But it is only the 4th round. And as you say, I look towards that League Cup semi-final in the midweek and the big games, the trip to Stamford Bridge on Saturday. And I'm thinking, do you really need to go full strength for this? I get the importance of the FA Cup, but it is only the 4th round. You don't want to crash out, but it's not as important. In my eyes, it's not as important as a League Cup semi-final, because automatically a semi-final is much more important than a 4th round tie. That's just how it is for me. But yeah, I think it shows that Arsenal want to win the FA Cup. And maybe that will cost them on Wednesday in the League Cup. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think it's a very strong side for a game that I don't think really needed it. It's a 4th round tie. You've got 2 massive games coming up against United and Chelsea. I'm really surprised at how strong Arsenal's 11 looks today.
I find it's difficult for Arsenal as well, because last season they had a bit of freedom at the end of the campaign to really throw or just make, because the league was quite a dead rubber situation. They could just throw that away, and while it is similarly dead rubber this season, they're not going to win the title. Champions League football is so important, and it just feels like they're going to end up doing the same thing they did last season, where they rotated in the league and went really hard on the cups.
Yeah.
And, if they come away with a Champions League title, then fair enough, that's worked perfectly. But the fear will be for Arsenal now is, can they afford to go so heavily into the cup competitions, knowing that Champions League football at this point in the season is not a given. It's far from it, in actual fact. So it's going to be interesting. I think the side they put out today is strong. The concern will be if they don't beat Villa, then they've played their strongest 11 and still not come away with the results. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I think Wednesday will be difficult because they'll likely rotate a little bit. I have to say, even if looking at today's lineup, the fact they've not used a Hines, not used a Holmberg, for me is criminal. That it's such an easy opportunity just to bed them in. It's a slightly rotated Aston Villa side. It's a cup competition where there is going to be a little bit of rotation. Villa's focus is in the league as well. I think this was an opportunity to rotate a little bit and still come away with a really positive result. Let's take a look then at the side for the visitors. I mentioned a slight bit of rotation for Aston Villa today. In goal, Ellie Roebuck comes into the side. A player who's found starts difficult to come by this campaign, but does start this match. In the back 3, it's Noel Moritz, Anna Patton and Lucy Parker. In the wing-back positions, Lynn Wilms on one side and Maltby on the other. Midfield pivot, Staniforth and Miri Taylor, with Missy Bokan slightly more advanced in that midfield, and a front 2 of Hijikata and Kirsty Hansen. Lots of players then getting chances to play Villa who perhaps haven't had a load of minutes this season, noticeably Ellie Roebuck, noticeably the pivot. We're seeing Staniforth and Taylor both come in. That sees Daly benched, that sees Lucia Kendall, benched, and a change in the front line as well with Salmon. I mean, to be fair, Salmon's not played much recently, but we're seeing Hijikata get that chance again. Lots of rotation then for Villa, but still a strong 11 out there.
Yeah, it's still a good side. I'm not surprised by the bit of rotation. I think Aston Villa and Arroyo will look at this season as much as they've backed themselves to go on a good run in the FA Cup. I think they're going to prioritise the league because that's where the money is, and that's where the kind of their focus needs to be. Are they realistically going to win the FA Cup? Probably not. So I understand the rotation. As you say, they're still quality players. I think that pivot of Staniforth and Taylor is still very functional. I think that it shows that more defensive mindset going into today's game. Again, Hijikata, I'm really liking the fact she's being given a run in the Villa side so far. And yes, she's looked hit and miss in certain games, but the fact she's getting a consistent run should really help her grow and develop, and she should just keep getting better and better, and is the kind of player that maybe could be the spark that Villa need today. But yeah, I like the Villa team. I think it's really well set up. It's a strong selection, even though it's rotated, and I think that for the way they're going to play today, Aston Villa, that 11 is pretty much exactly what Arroyo wants.
Yeah, absolutely. They need some goals. That's what Aston Villa need from some of their other players. Kirsty Hansen this season has chipped in with 6. Rachel Daly's found some scoring form recently, but there's not been enough goals for Villa this season. And Hijikata or Salmon, whoever's used in that position, hasn't been able to find the net consistently, both missing big opportunities this campaign. Daly as well was underperforming her XG for large parts of the season, has been a lot better recently. But they need goals. They need routes to goals, Aston Villa. Really strong defensive team. We've seen that a lot. They're not bad at creating chances. They just don't put them in the back of the net. And there are some games where we do see that creativity stifled. In a game like today, though, we're going to expect to see them very defensive. I think that's shown in the pivot. Miri Taylor and Lucy Staniforth, both more defensive players, both less technically gifted compared to a pivot that could look something like Missy Bokearns and Lucia Kendall. That would be a very technically gifted pivot. This is a much more steely pivot. You've got Lucy Staniforth, who is your Leah Vauti mould of player, that sort of tempo dictator, likes to break up the play and then look to play out to the wide areas. You've got Miri Taylor in there, who's a really hard-working midfielder. They're going to be defensive today. They're going to be narrow and compact. They're going to use the restrictions of this Meadow Park pitch. It's quite a narrow surface. They're going to look to make life really difficult for Arsenal and then try and spring in behind. And Arsenal have got to be wary of that because they have been opened in transition. If they struggle once again to break a team down, Villa do have players who can hurt them on that counter-attack. Players coming out onto the field then, so let's dive into predictions. If you're watching along to the live show, get involved in the live chat and let us know your scoreline prediction. Quickly, the poll so far, 87% going for Arsenal, 13% then for Aston Villa. So carrying strong favour in the poll in chat. But let's dive into our predictions. We'll start with yourself, Harry. What's your prediction for this game?
Oh, it's a tough one, but I am going to say Arsenal to just about get it over the line. I think Villa will push them all the way, and it will be a very defensive performance from the away side. I think they'll do enough to send us to extra time. So I'm going to say 1-0 to Arsenal in extra time. I think it'll be 90 minutes of Villa sitting deep, absorbing pressure. Arsenal just can't find the breakthrough. It'll be 0-0 at the end of the 90 minutes. We'll go into the extra half an hour of play, and I will say Arsenal to get a late goal from Alessia Russo. Alessia Russo in extra time to win it for Arsenal. 1-0 to the Gunners, but a very, very tight FA Cup fourth round game.
Fair enough. Well, if you're backing the big side to get the result, I'm going to back the underdog. I think Aston Villa will get the result here. I'm going to say 1-1 in normal time, and I will go for goals from Hijikata, because I think she needs a goal, and I will say for Arsenal, penalty, Mariana Caldente. And then I think it will go into extra time. Just to decide whether there's going to be a winner in extra time, whether it's going to go to penalties. I think there will be a winner in extra time. I'm going to say it's from a corner. I'm going to say Anna Patton for Aston Villa 2-1 after extra time. A couple of predictions coming in to the live chat. Phil saying, I'm going 5-2 Arsenal. Set pieces are a big worry, though. Absolutely, I think that's where Aston Villa can pack a bit of threat today. Kevin going 2-0 Arsenal as well. So keep those predictions coming in to the live chat. But it is both sides taking to the field in this game. It's such an important one, you feel, for Arsenal once again. We've spoken already about how the league's a bit of a dead rubber this season. The FA Cup, based on the 11 today, looks a big priority for Slegers' side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's a trophy that Arsenal want to win, and we're speaking about the league potentially being out of reach. They've got Man United in the League Cup semi-final in the midweek, which isn't a given. So Arsenal will be looking at this as a real opportunity to get silverware on the board. Even their defence of their European crown, they're going to have to get past Chelsea if they do beat Leuven. So I think Arsenal are viewing the FA Cup as probably one of their better opportunities to bring home silverware this season.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll hope that they can have a situation where perhaps some of the big sides take each other out along the way and they can find themselves in a slightly nicer run. They've had some difficult runs over the years, Arsenal, but they'll be hoping they can get the luck. Although this is going to be a very difficult game to get through. Arsenal to get us started here at Meadow Park today in this Women's FA Cup 4th round tie. A place in the 5th round at stake. That draw is tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We'll find out all the opponents in the FA Cup 5th round, but we haven't seen any big upsets yet.
No.
Even the games that are currently going on look like foregone conclusions. Will this be the big upset of the 4th round? That's what we'll wait and see. Seems to be some delay to getting us underway here, but Arsenal fans in good spirits, cheering their side on as we prepare to get started. It's Stina Raxenis from the middle. Referee looks down at her watch, prepares to get us underway, blows the whistle when we're underway here in the Women's FA Cup 4th round. It's Arsenal taking on Aston Villa, two WSL oppositions facing off in this Women's FA Cup match. And it's Arsenal looking to get started quickly here. Smith dispossessed, but it falls to Little out towards the right-hand side now. Fox holding the width. Has Mead up in support. Mead now creates the overlapping run. A shift inside to Little. And now back out wide into Beth Mead. And she'll go all the way back into Wooburn Moy. Plays it into Caldente, who's dispossessing there. Taylor trips, and that will be a Villa free kick. The big test for Arsenal today will be how quickly and how consistently can they break that Villa side down. Villa are going to play a bit of a low block. We expect that today from Villa. It's going to be all about Arsenal's response. Can they be creative enough in the final third to create issues for a Villa side we know are very defensively disciplined?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's not even about scoring early, it's about putting them under pressure. If Arsenal put them under pressure from minute one, then eventually Villa will crack. But if they allow Villa to have it easy for 30, 40 minutes of this game, then Villa will be able to last for the full 90. So Arsenal have got to be ruthless, they've got to be relentless, because eventually it will pay off. But if they let Villa off the hook for at any part of this match, then that's just going to allow the away side to do what they want and to be able to just last longer in their low block.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin asking, is Chatham Town an upset? That is an all 4th tier clash, which is fascinating. Not an upset, but it's awesome to see as it stands Chatham Town through to the FA Cup 5th round. Tempting pass there through the lines by Missy Bo Kearns. Falls to nothing, but Fox forced to put that out of play, and Villa can use this high up the pitch. Here's Parker. Waiting for an option on the field of play. Throws inside now, flicked on by Missy Bo Kearns. Hansen battling away for possession. Villa win it back quickly. Taylor unable to pick out a teammate, and it's now with Wooburn Moy. Fox passes intercepted well by Parker. Now Missy Bo Kearns. Miri Taylor, tidy touch inside. Back to Patton. Now down the line to Parker. Looks for a forward option. Has to go across the pitch instead. Great pressure here from Arsenal, but Villa playing out of it well. Taylor round the corner. Missy Bo Kearns' touch is loose, and while Maltby gives chase, it's to no avail. Arsenal throwing on this near side. Seems to be a small clash there between Maltby and Fox, completely unintentional. Both players seem to be all right there, but Fox will take a moment here before getting us back underway. And again, Fox surveying her forward options. Very short into Mead, and Villa have really penned Arsenal in here, and it's gone for a Villa throw-in. And that's great pressure. Just boxing Arsenal into that space, and they win the throw.
Yeah, this is the kind of intensity that Aston Villa have got to carry for the whole game if they can. Make it difficult for Arsenal. Don't allow them too much time on the ball, and really put them under pressure.
Smashed away comfortably by Kim Little. Drops down now for Patton, who forces it a little bit in behind. Little wins the header. A good win in there from Parker, who stepped up to compete. Missy Bo Kearns now. And it's back to Parker once again. Staniforth into Patton. Plays it through the lines wonderfully into Missy Bo Kearns, and it opens up this Arsenal team. Hijikata in behind, slightly overhit, and Fox will get there, but Borba lashing it away. A lovely combination there from Aston Villa. Played through Arsenal, slightly too much on the through ball from Hijikata.
Yeah, really good football from Villa. Again, it's quick. It's good. Yeah, it's got a good intensity to their play at the moment, Aston Villa, and if that pass from Hijikata is a little bit more accurate than Kirsty Hansen would have been in one-on-one against Borba, and we know the clinicality that Kirsty Hansen possesses.
Absolutely little into Fox, who looks to spread the play now out to the right-hand side. Mead holds the width well, wants to take on Maltby. Needs a supporting cast here, Mead. Penned into her own corner. Into Little now. Can they create something from this position? Arsenal, tidy stuff from Kim Little. Ball into a good area, taken away from Blackstenius by the header of Patton. That's an important intervention. And then it's knocked in behind. Something for Hijikata to give chase to. The ball has gone. Arsenal there starting to show signs of breaking Aston Villa down. Matt, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for the donation of $2. Says good morning. It's 6 a.m. in Seattle. Thanks for streaming. Thank you for the donation. Donations and memberships alike help us fund this show, so appreciate that massively. But Arsenal already looking a lot more positive than what we've seen perhaps in recent weeks.
Yeah, again, I think that this game has started with a good pace for both sides, but Arsenal looking to move it quickly, not allow Villa to put them under pressure. It's the best way to deal with it is if you play through an opposition, they can't really cause you too many issues, and they're a vital intervention from Patton, because if not, that cross was destined to meet Blackstenius, who surely from that range would have found the back of the net. But a good start from Arsenal. They've won a corner here, and yeah, they've reacted well because Villa are up for this and have started brightly. But Arsenal reacted well here.
Yeah, indeed. And Arsenal now with a corner, and I feel at times they haven't made enough of these sort of set pieces. Arsenal, especially with the height they've got in the box, they do have a lack of aerial threats, to be fair. But you think, especially with how dominant Arsenal men's side are from set pieces, you'd think they'd have a little look across and see what they're doing well.
Yeah, you think so. Set piece has been a real problem for Arsenal. They don't score their own, and they usually concede one, against opposition.
McCabe over this one will look to put it onto the goalkeeper, right sort of area, and Wouba Moy, a great opportunity. Mead bailed down in the box, but I think that will be a goal kick. And that was a situation that could have led to a goal for Arsenal. McCabe into a dangerous area. Wouba Moy just seems to kick it backwards.
Yeah, it's a brilliant run from Wouba Moy. She escapes her marker. And yeah, the ball just goes on.
I think she kicks it into her own leg, doesn't she?
Potentially. Just misjudges the ball, and it falls to Mead, who got barged into a little bit. Definitely not a penalty and out for a goal kick. But another good chance for Arsenal there. Really good corner from McCabe, right into the danger area. And Wouba Moy really should have done better.
That's a great knock from Lotte Wouba Moy, switching the play. Here's Beth Mead, waiting for the overlap of Fox. Now finds Fox. Villa doubling up well, though, and Fox will be forced backwards by Maltby. Into Mead now, offers a support. Great stuff from Parker there. Tracks the run and knocks it out of play. Fox again now. Throws it into Blackstenius, who's peeled wide to get involved. Spins her player well. Ball inside for Russo. Blocked at close range and cleared away well by Lucy Staniforth. And Arsenal really putting Villa under the cosh in these early stages. Caldente.
Yeah, brilliant block that from Moritz. Again, Russo should probably do better with it, but it's well stopped. Villa, though, under a lot of pressure.
Indeed, and that will continue here as Fox on the right-hand side wants to take on Maltby. Halted in her tracks momentarily. Still in possession, though, the American fullback, Maltby. Tracks her well and knocks it out of play. That will be a corner again.
Yeah, it's good battle brewing on this left-hand side. Villa's left-hand side, Arsenal's right-hand side between Fox and Maltby. Fox getting incredibly high and almost pinning Maltby a little bit deeper than she would like to be. But a lot of the options coming down the right for Arsenal and looking to pick out. And that's what when you have Russo and Blackstenius, you kind of guarantee yourself having at least one, natural number 9 in the penalty area.
Caldente cut back to McCabe, loops it into the area, cleared away. Smith now a wild stab at it, and that almost went out for a throw-in with how wide it went in the end, fizzing away from goal. A very good first 8 minutes from Arsenal. Still the same problems emerging, though. Yet to have a shot on target in this game. Yet to really test the goalkeeper. Wouba Moy missed kicking it at close range. The best opportunity so far. Smith probably should have done better with that one. You see her body shape. In fact, I did go out for a throw. See her body shape. It's all, she's already getting under that ball. You need to sort of strike it dead on or get over the ball to strike it downwards. That was always going to fly up how high that ball was. Wubbemoy. Now Fox. Great pass into Blackstairs, who peels into the channel, cuts it back. Chance now. Brilliant stuff from Taylor there. Manages to block it from Russo and clears it out of play, steering clear of her own goal in the process.
Yeah, Villa here getting caught out. Is it Patton who steps up and Blackstairs just goes into the space? No one's gone with her.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant from Stina Blackstenius. She's peeled into this channel. It's exactly why you use Russo and Blackstenius, because it gives Blackstenius that license to pull into those half spaces. And when you don't have an attack midfielder who wants to do that, you need your strikers to do it. Great ball from Mead. Looped into the box over everyone's head in the end. Right idea, though, from Arsenal. One of the biggest things we've seen is Arsenal have done really well to get the ball wide, and they've got players in the box, but no one then fills that gap. No one wants to make a run into that half space. What we're seeing today from Arsenal, at least early on, is Blackstenius being that player who wants to drop into the channel. The question will be is when they're on the left-hand side, do we see that same thing emerge? Do we see Russo pulling into that position and offering that same option? That'll be what remains to be seen. But much more positive for Arsenal. They now need to test the goalkeeper with their next opportunity, really. Wubbemoy, Mead, pass around the corner into Fox. Great intervention there from Maltby, and that is out for an Arsenal throw-in. Fox. Blackstenius' touch is loose. Russo there, though, to shadow her. And it's won back cleanly by Taylor. Staniforth now knocks it wide. And that from Vilms is rushed and inaccurate.
Yeah, Villa have got to be efficient when they turn possession over. Arsenal are going to have a lot of the ball today. So when Villa do manage to get possession of their own, they've got to use it wisely. Unlike what Vilms did there, just kicking it straight back to ball, but got to be better in possession.
Ball lifted over the top. Blackstenius will give chase. Runs through, though, to Ellie Roebuck, who has no issues collecting that pass. Now Patton. Probing here are Aston Villa, trying to play through the Arsenal press. Moritz, Patton, that's cut out by Caldente. Patton gets away with it, though. And now they'll shift it to the left-hand side. Parker, wide into Maltby. Now Missy Bo Kearns, lovely flick over her head into Hansen. Hijikata now holds onto the ball. Hansen wanted to lift it out to the right-hand side, just didn't settle for her. And she's dispossessed. Maltby, though, wins it back. Plays it forward towards Hansen. Has to battle away with Mead, but does get a throw-in. And Villa now progressing into the Arsenal third.
Yeah, better from Villa. Really, again, a good response. Arsenal have dominated this first 10 minutes, looked very positive and started well, but Villa are battling on in there.
Tidy from Parker there. Ball in towards the back post. Headed away by McCabe. Missy Bo Kearns. That's another shot that's not struck sweetly. And it's cleared away well by McCabe.
Yeah, I'm sure in Missy Bo Kearns' head, that was going to be caught sweetly on the volley and fly into the top corner. Instead, it didn't really go anywhere and got sliced up in the air. But it's one of those where decision-making, I spoke about it a minute ago about efficiency in possession, but decisions like that have got to be spot on from Villa. They've got to use possession wisely when they get the chances.
Indeed. Ball sent forward, headed on well by Hansen, who gets away here from Wubbemoy. Hansen keeps it in touch, wins a corner, and we know Villa can pack a threat from corners, and Arsenal often look exposed from them.
Yeah, again, set pieces are a massive part of this game. If Villa can use them, put Arsenal under pressure. But I love that from Kirsty Hansen, flicking the ball onto herself to get on the end of and doing well to win a corner from what felt like a lost situation. But yeah, I'm looking at Vilms, Parker and Patton all arriving towards the far post. Villa have got to be careful here. Arsenal, sorry, have got to be careful here.
Yeah, indeed. Aston Villa now. Missy Bo Kearns towards the back post. Patton header on target. Borba up to claim it well. And Villa, the first effort that troubles the goalkeeper in this game. Fox down the line looking for Mead. Once again, though, it's won back by Taylor. Maltby goes back to a goalkeeper, Roebuck. Another goal in the game, by the way, between Manchester United and Burnley. Lea Schuler with her first goal as a Manchester United player. I'm sure the first of many to come this season. Parker carrying it forward confidently. It comes off both Russo and Mead and bobbles out of play. And Slegers already frustrated, you have to say.
Yeah, I think she'll be content with how Arsenal look going forwards, but probably a little bit concerned about the way Villa are also looking very positive and having quite a bit of joy.
Indeed, another throw in here for Villa as that took a touch off Fox as Missy Kearns tried to flick it through her. And so Parker now throws inside. Taylor back to Parker, pass inside, picked off by Little. Now Blackstenius, who just delays too long there, and it's picked off in there. And here come Aston Villa. Hijikata has options in front of her, plays it wide to Wilms, who goes to Taylor out wide towards Moritz. And I'm not sure what Miri Taylor was trying to do with that pass.
Ambitious, to say the least. Tries to just first time play the pass. A floated ball into the path of Moritz. Very audacious and probably had better options.
And Natalia Arroyo looked like she's just eating something very sour after seeing that pass, that chance go to waste. McCabe, that is haphazard inside, and it puts Fox under a lot of pressure here. She does really well, Emily Fox, but Maltby battling to try and win the ball back. And it comes off Mead in there, and it's a Villa throw-in. Mead's frustrated. She felt she was fouled in there. Hansen, great hold-up. Shift inside, though, not as successful. Mead, that's a poor pass back, but Calvin Tate bails her out. Hijikata wins it, and it's a quick exchange of possession between the two sides, but it's Arsenal who managed to hold on to the ball. McCabe.
A little bit scrappy in that midfield area. And I think it comes from that intensity from Aston Villa, and Arsenal just struggling a little bit to get out. Once Arsenal do play out, they link up really nicely as they are here, and this is 1-2 touch football to get out the pitch. But it's when they're trying to get out from goalkeeper through the defence and then get into Villa's half that they're just having a bit of difficulty at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I think without Lucia Kendall, Villa are lacking a bit of composure in middle of the park and a really good runner and a really good ball carrier. So instead, what we're seeing them do today is they're trying to shift it wide really quickly because they know the wing backs are great carriers and they need to get the ball forwards, obviously. And they're just lacking Kendall as an option there because what Kendall does really nicely is drive that ball forward, and that changes the dynamic of having to face Aston Villa. So I do find it's a little weird they haven't started her today. I get they want to rotate, but you think with Kendall on the pitch, it makes their chance of winning much stronger. And there's no reason Aston Villa shouldn't look at the FA Cup as a really favourable competition, not only to earn a little bit of prize money, which helps, but as somewhere something they could go really deep into. So yeah, it's overall it's been a good start from Villa. They've nullified Arsenal fairly well, and they've started to come into this game a little bit more in the last few minutes. Cat Lantern saying, good morning from the US. I'd assume because it's Arsenal we won't see Jenna. Yes, absolutely. She's on loan, so I assume that there is a clause in that loan deal that means she isn't able to face her parent club, and she isn't a much substitute, so I assume that is the case. The new signings that we could see today are Aston Villa's addition of Orion Jean-Francois, who signed from Chelsea for £450,000. Arsenal with no new additions on the bench. Mila Holmberg, their only January signing so far, and we did see her make her debut against Manchester United. Miri Taylor goes back now into Moritz. Parker clipping it forwards. Hansen bowled over in there by Wooben Moy, and rightfully that is a foul.
Yeah, just a bit aggressive there from Wooben Moy, a bit too aggressive. But again, that's what Kirsty Hansen gives you in there for Villa. Despite, she's not the tallest player, but she'll gives you a presence, a physical target to aim for. And she does well to hold her own up against Wooben Moy.
And Emily Fox now, I think, with some sort of issue with her nose. A nosebleed or just a bit of discomfort. She's had a few aerial duels in the early stages here, Emily Fox.
Yeah, I think that a nosebleed after 18 minutes kind of sums up how there's been a very combative game so far from both sides. There's a real intensity, and I'm intrigued to see how long this lasts because there's no way that both sides can play at this level of intensity and aggression for 90 minutes of football because it's impossible to keep up. So it'll be interesting to see which side tails off and how long that lasts.
Yeah, indeed. Phil saying, how does nobody at this club watch us and realise we need someone who's good in the air? And Lloyd saying, our performance from corner set pieces is truly awful despite McKay being great at delivery. Yeah, and what McCabe's really good at is putting the ball right on top of the goalkeeper. When we look at the modern meta from set pieces, it's exactly what you want. But, this Arsenal side, they don't have a Gabriela Margiales. They don't have a Wilma Saliba. That would be the exact profiles this Arsenal side needs, I think, to offer that threat at corners.
Yeah, it's exactly that. But I think, that, as you say, the way that set pieces are now impacting the game of football, it has to be transfer targets have to be players that are good in the air, both at because then they can both defend.
They're all at Man City.
That is true. Like exactly, Rebecca.
Meadow Park, Rebecca Nat, Khadija Shaw.
It's absurd that City look dangerous from every corner simply because Rebecca Nack is on the pitch. That is the impact that set pieces are having in the modern game. So I think it's 100% something Arsenal are going to need to address.
Yeah, absolutely. 20 minutes into this one then, it's been a fairly even game. It started very dominant for Arsenal, but Aston Villa have just edged their way back into this contest. Arsenal still having more of the ball, but both sides are with 2 shots so far. Aston Villa the only side to register a shot on target. And this looks like it may be the end of the game for Emily Fox then. Didn't look like anything too serious, but she does seem to be feeling discomfort to the point where they will bring her off now. Yeah,
Smila Holmberg is ready to go and being given instructions. So yeah, I can't imagine that Emily Fox is continuing it. I can only imagine it's a pre-game issue that they potentially knew about. But then why would you risk it?
Either that, or it could just be some sort of discomfort after a blow that she played through. It's just that sort of niggling pain, but she's now concerned about it. But yeah, Emily Fox making way then after 20 minutes. Hopefully nothing too serious. A big week for Arsenal. And if they go into the game against Manchester United, the game against Chelsea, with Smila Holmberg likely in line to start both of them, that would be a very quick introduction for Holmberg, who also has to play a 70-minute match here.
It's exactly why I speak about rotation, because did Emily Fox really need to play today's game? Absolutely not. And if she is now out for the League Cup semi-final and even the Chelsea game, that is a massive loss. Of course, Smila Holmberg is a great player, but she's just joined the league and she's not better than Emily Fox. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, that seems like a massive oversight from Arsenal. That's why you rotate in these kind of games, and it has come back to bite them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing you could say is, well, if they are looking to rotate on Wednesday, maybe they could play someone like Taylor Hines. But Taylor Hines, presumably, if she was going to be rotated in, would play left back. Yeah. So Arsenal there, if this is something more serious for Fox, then that would be a huge concern. But a substitution for 20 minutes here. Smila Holmberg on at right back. And we will get back underway. A few minutes there of a delay, of course, will be added on to the end of this half. And referee keen to get us back started. It is a Villa free kick here, which they're just going to try and treat as an in possession state then and not just fill it into the box. They're going to go direct to this left-hand side. Try and target Holmberg immediately. Missy Bo-Kearns into Maltby. Down the line. And Hansen here has got space to work with. Cut back, blocked by Ruben Moy. And that will be a Villa corner. Really smart stuff, though, from Villa. They recognise Holmberg's just come onto the field. Try and target that freshness. Try and exploit that potential weakness.
Yeah, really good switch out onto that left-hand side. And Kearns with a superb touch. And really going to put Holmberg under pressure.
And now a corner for Aston Villa. And there's bodies at the back post. And now they'll rush into the area. Missy Bo-Kearns swings it in towards the back post. Headers one in there. Contact, though, puts it wide off the mark.
Yeah, I think with those kind of corners, I don't mind that aiming for Patton very deep in the penalty area, but I think that she's got to recognise that from there she's not the player taking on the shot. When Missy Bo-Kearns sends it that deep, Patton's got to look ahead, head it back across goal. She's tried to go for goal there and it's gone very wide because of where she is in the penalty area. From that kind of distance, you've got to look to try and head it on to one of your teammates and go back, back towards where the corner came from.
Yeah, I think that is the routine for Villa, isn't it? That you saw Patton before, headed towards goal on that occasion. But yeah, that's exactly what they need, is bodies then making the run at the back post, but also presence at the front post. They can head across goal if needed. Villa now in deep possession. Patton back towards Moritz, picked off by Smith and poked inside by Russo. Blackstenius lays it into Little, who knocks it wide now. Holmberg's first touch in this game. Looking to swing it into the box. Great delivery from Smila Holmberg. No presence in there. Drops for Mead now, who chests it to Little. Little wants to make something happen. Ruben Moy. Thought she may swing it in, but she knocks it wide, thinking better of it. Here's Holmberg, takes on Maltby. Ball into the box, back post header, great save from Roebuck. Gets down well, it's smart play from Alessia Russo, creates the space for the header, bursts in and heads it down, but Roebuck able to react and denies Russo there at close range.
Yeah, great ball in from Holmberg. What an introduction that would have been to pick up an assist. Puts it perfectly on a plate for Russo. It's not a bad header, but a good save.
Cuts it back. Russo. No space for the shot. Now Ruben Moy knocks it wide, and it's Holmberg again. A couple of good deliveries from her. Can she come up with something else now? Mead inside. That's blocked. Maltby battling away. Little comes away with it. Too weak there from Maltby. Mead. Caldente. Holmberg now in the penalty area. Tries to burst away. Runs it out of play. But already we're seeing a different dynamic from Smila Holmberg. And that's exactly why she was brought in, to bring even more persistence on that right wing, to be a right back position. Obviously, we know how Arsenal like to function on that right hand side with the full back getting high, making that overlapping run. And that's exactly what they want there from Smila Holmberg. Probably a more attacking version of Emily Fox. And we're seeing already her able to get involved in this game. It's Villa now who are coming forwards, though, looking dangerous. Hansen peels out to the right-hand side. Now looking to cut it back to a teammate. Moritz in there. Jakarta unmarked. And that is an absolute gift of an opportunity. Arsenal, where are they in this position? Ruben Moyes peeled wide and nobody drops into the penalty area. 2, 3, 4 players completely unmarked. Jakarta at point-blank range, looping her header over the bar. That should be 1-0 Villa.
Cup ties are all about big moments, and that is a massive opportunity. As you say, Arsenal nowhere to be seen. Jakarta is left completely unmarked in the 6-yard box. Has to hit the target at the very least. What a chance for Villa to take the lead in this game.
And this is why we talk about that lack of leadership, that lack of organisation, that lack of communication for Arsenal. Because without Leah Williamson in there, no one speaks. And, I think Ruben Moyes absolutely right to go there and follow the ball. But someone's got to drop in. And Steph Catley in there's got to communicate that. But even Catley gets caught ball watching. Yeah, Arsenal very lucky to get away with that situation. Way too open. And Aston Villa should have punished it.
Yeah, exactly that. And the frustration with Villa is that even if Jakarta had missed it, it had fallen to Missy Kearns and Maltby, who were both running in there as well. That was a massive chance. Arsenal let off the hook there. And that's the kind of chance in these kind of games where if Villa do lose today, they'll look back on that and go, what could have been?
Yeah, absolutely. Aston Villa offering Arsenal a great tussle early on here. Staniforth, Jakarta unable to hold on to that. But again, they're suffering from a lack of clinicality in that front line. The quicker Nunes is back and able to feature, the better for Villa, really. They need goals in that front line. Ebony Salmon's missed too many chances. Jakarta also, both very young players, but they need a reliable goal scorer at this stage in their season. Hansen's been brilliant, but she can't hold that. She can't bear that load herself.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, I'll be intrigued to see when Salmon is reintroduced, because I understand she was dropped because she was missing chances, but she's now been dropped for a while. And as I said, it's good to see Jakarta get a consistent spell, but surely Salmon has now paid the price.
Jakarta's also not scored, by the way, in that four game run that she's got so far.
So I get giving her a go, but surely Salmon's been dropped for long enough now I understand as a manager completely the statement of saying you're not doing enough, you're missing your chances, so I'm going to drop you. But surely Arroyo has now made her statement. Salmon is clear as to what she's got to do, so to reintroduce her and let her come back in and prove herself.
Yeah, Louise are asking, who do we support, or are we neutral? Lloyd says he's as a Chelsea supporter, but despite that, they are all right. Thank you, Lloyd. Appreciate it. That's what we're going to use as our channel description now for all fans. Here's Catley. But yeah, we do try and be as neutral as possible on streams. Caldente plays it inside. Olivia Smith now carrying the ball forward out towards Alessia Russo. Who can she pick out in a forward area? Knocks it wide now to Mead. Ball in on top of the goalkeeper. Roebuck caught out a little bit there. It's off the crossbar. And Villa look to break away. Wubbenmoy wins the aerial contest. And again, Hijikata wins it off of Caldente. Hansen now comes away with possession. And Villa are actually going to drop back into their possession shape and invite Arsenal to press them.
I don't blame them. This game's going very end-to-end. We saw Russo have her header saved, then immediately Hijikata had a gilt-edge opportunity at the other end, and now Beth Mead's just going to hit the crossbar for Arsenal.
Yeah.
This game is really becoming quite open.
These conditions are much more suited, I think, to this Arsenal side than what we've seen them try and manufacture this season. What we often see from Arsenal in possession is they want to slow the game down. They want to make, suffocate the other team. Whereas actually, I think that the players they've got at their disposal are much more suited to this style of play, where it's just end to end. And can you break in behind? Smith tries to feed Blackstenius. Too much on that one, though.
I think what's quite funny is this game could come down to which side's more clinical, which is funny because these two sides have been incredibly, clinical with their chances, across the season. So I'll be really intrigued to see who can get it right today and who can put their opportunities in the back of the net when they do come.
Staniforth. Back now to Roebuck out to the left-hand side. Maltby and Akers. And Villa can use this now. Mead gets back in. Quite a blatant foul there from Beth Mead, but can't win the ball back. Hijikata. Now Staniforth pokes it out to Maltby, who tries to touch it back to a teammate. Mead gets in front of it, though. And that's how to play for a Villa throw.
I have to say, the accuracy of pass from Villa today has been really, really strong, especially across a long distance. The long, it's not necessarily, I don't want to call them long balls because that sounds like they're hoofing out the pitch, but the switches across the play.
The long passes, yeah. They're bringing them down really well.
It's well, we're not seeing them spill out or be just smashed off the edge of the pitch. They're doing very well to stretch what is quite a narrow pitch,
and that's what we see from Villa a lot this season. It's because of the positionings. It's the position that makes it so easy to play the pass. Where those problems come is players not understanding where their teammates are going to be, perhaps. But everything at Villa is in the details. That's what Natalia Arroyo is all about, the details of tactics. And we can see with this structure that they want to get players into positions like that. We saw how they knocked the ball to the right-hand side, invited the Arsenal press, and then a quick few passes, and they find Maltby in loads of space. And Maltby's had a really good game. And I think, to be fair, this left-hand side of Villa's looking really good at the moment. Mead has struggled, especially in defensive duels, and Holmberg now needs to come on and really add a bit more strength in that sort of position.
Yeah, I find it very interesting for both sides. A lot has come down this near side of the pitch. We haven't really seen Olivia Smith, and we haven't really seen Lynn Vilms at right wing back for Villa.
No, here is Caldente, one back well in there by Maltby. He'll carry the ball forwards. Needs some support here, and there is a foul there given by the referee, and I think that's from Caldente, but I'm not sure what the referee has given here. I have to say.
I think it is a Villa free kick.
She's having a conversation with Catley about something. Do TNT Sports have replays? That's the question.
I assume
is there some sort of tussle off the ball?
Maybe. Yeah, if you look where the free kick's positioned, yeah.
That was my only presumption because Caldente did not commit a foul.
No, that is true.
So, Villa now with the free kick. Taylor tries to play it long. It spills under the foot of Caldente, and Villa get away with what wasn't a good ball.
That was quite poor from everybody involved. Taylor with a really poor free kick, and Caldente should have managed to bring that down.
Yeah, ball down the line. Great stuff from Patton to knock it out of play. And what can Arsenal do now? Holmberg into Mead. A dubious throw-in from Smila Holmberg. Mead. Little. Mead again. Wants to take on Maltby. Creates a space for Holmberg. That's really poor from Beth Mead. And it's a 33 minutes where she's really struggled.
Yeah. Again, I think we said this about, was it the Lyon game when we watched? But, I think that in these combative, quite... intense games, Beth Mead seems to really get embroiled and frustrated very quickly. And we've already seen that today. These 50-50s, the ball goes out, she doesn't get the throw in and is complaining, getting frustrated with not being given fouls and then being penalised for committing them. I think that Mead really doesn't enjoy these kind of fiery, intense, quick-paced games because she just seems to get caught up in all the emotion in it.
Well, just on Jules, 5 so far, she's yet to win one. Patton. Now Staniforth. Yeah. 0% success rate on crosses, 0% success rate on dribbles. Just struggling to impact the game in the way we know Beth Mead can. Here's Woodmoy. And even there, where the pass from her wasn't great, Arsenal coming forwards now. Holmberg wants to take on Maltby. Ball into the box, and that's a chance for Arsenal.
Oh, wow.
What a save from Ellie Roebuck. Claws it off the line. A great ball in from Smilla Holmberg. And that should have been 1-0 Arsenal, but for a fantastic stop from Ellie Roebuck. Ball wide again now. Holmberg, who's changed this game, really. That one overhit, though. Headed down by Russo. Smashed away by Staniforth. But suddenly, they look so much more threatening with Holmberg overlapping.
Yeah, Holmberg is getting the better of Rachel Maltby every single time. Once again here, stands her up, knocks it to the right-hand side, beats her. Really good ball in, picks out Blacksenius. It's not a bad header.
It's Russo, I believe, at the back post.
Yeah, it is Russo. It's not a bad header at all. Again, goes across the goal, but what a save that is.
Fantastic stop.
That is incredible.
From Ellie Roebuck.
There's a touch from Taylor which brings it closer to her, but that is an incredible save.
Caldente battling away. Mead back inside. Released down the right wing. Holmberg now flicks over her head. And we won back in there by Parker. Mead jostling for possession. Loses the ball. Takes the throw in now. Was on the pitch when she took that throw in. Surprised Alino hasn't taken an issue with that. Here's Holmberg. Dives wide. Lovely stuff from Maltby just to stand her up. Now Little. Caldente. Blackstenius. Ruben Moy. Thought she may look to deliver that from deep. Goes to Little instead. Ruben Moy. Into Holmberg now. He wants to spin Maltby. I think she just went too early with that. Ball in now from Holmberg. That's cleared away. I think she revealed her intention there to Maltby way too early. She positioned her body, which is the right thing to do, positioned her body to receive it onto her back foot and turn in the process. But by doing that, Maltby was very much aware of what she wanted to do and was able to counteract it. It's just that later there, Holmberg, she creates the opportunity then to turn.
Yeah, Maltby's gone down with an issue, and this wouldn't surprise me if there was something, because Holmberg's getting the better of every time, but no offence to Mila Holmberg, Holmberg is going the same way every time, and Maltby should realistically be able to realise that and then just force Holmberg to come inside or at least make it difficult for her.
I did wonder after we saw Fox go off whether there was a bit more, because they had a few duels in there. Was there one where they both received a fair whack of contact? But Maltby is down now receiving treatment. This will be a chance for both teams to just have some tactical discussions. One of the Arsenal coaches there instructing Catley and McCabe. Not really seen Catley and McCabe at all in this game, apart from defensively, and that's where we've seen them get exposed.
Yeah, that far side might as well. You could probably take them all off the pitch. McCabe and Smith really haven't got involved in this game, and in turn, neither have the likes of Lynn Vilms out there on that side have had too much to do. So I'm surprised that neither side. If you're Villa, do you just try and get it down that right hand side and drag Arsenal back across, because both sides are getting very comfortable playing on this near side. But yeah, I do wonder if there's an option for one of these two sides just to see what they can do if they can get the ball across that far side. Yeah,
indeed. Well, science retaking to the field. Quinton Wilson says, watching from Namibia. Love that. I love finding which obscure nations or nations I wouldn't expect people to be watching from are watching from. So thank you for letting us know. Ryan saying, Smila good at crossing the ball. She needs someone to get on the end of it. Well, that was a fantastic cross. It met Russo perfectly. Just what can you do? What more can you do? She heads it across goal. Yeah, it's still in the position where it's somewhat savable, but for Roebuck to get down to it and get enough force to push that out, fantastic stuff from Eddie Roebuck, and Arsenal unlucky not to find the back of the net with that chance.
Yeah, this is a big game for Roebuck. This is kind of her audition, because since she's come in, we thought she'd be the starter, but D'Angelo's enjoyed a very, very good season. I believe she's on the 4th most clean sheets in the league and has conceded.
She seems to be motivated by competition. The opposite happened at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Where her, obviously, I think Zinsberger was there before her, but that competition, the two of them just seem to keep making mistakes, and they'd bring the other one in, and then they'd make a mistake, and that seemed to be how it worked. But with Aston Villa this season, it's two goalkeepers who are in good form, And it's difficult then for Roebuck to break into that starting spot. Here is Smith, breaks down the left-hand side. Lovely stuff. Great recovery there from Lynn Vilms, who gets back in and makes a sliding challenge.
Yeah, I said we hadn't seen too much of Olivia Smith, but this is a good piece of play. Very tidy feet. Gets the wrong side of Vilms, bursts into the box, and the Villa fullback does really well, actually, to get back the right side of her and make a clean challenge.
Indeed. And a corner now for Arsenal. It's taken short. Mead to Calente. Back to Beth Mead. Ball over hit. It drops now for McCabe, and that's lashing at it. Katie McCabe, unable to find the target with that drilled effort.
Yeah, she's understandably and rightly frustrated with herself. Should do better. Falls quite nicely for her as it spins out and just lashes at it a little bit. Doesn't get any control on the strike. Probably a little bit put off as well by the on-rushing Kirsty Hanson, who just seemed to pelt herself at her as fast as she could.
But again, it's that sort of intelligence you want to see from McCabe there, where the player's coming across right, and she tries to strike the near post. Continue your striking motion, because if Hanson makes contact with you there's a great chance that's going to be a penalty.
Yeah.
So, go into that contact rather than shy away from it. Holmberg. Now into Blackstenius, who's pulled wide. Could have gone back down the line to Holmberg, but she peels back now. Blackstenius needs support. Here's Ruben Moy under pressure from Hanson.
Massive 5 minutes. Massive 5 minutes for both these sides. If Villa can get through to half-time unscathed, then it's going to be game on in the second half. Arsenal, they've been the better side in this first 45 minutes. They've had more of the ball. They just haven't done enough with it. They've forced some good saves out of Roebuck, but they've also snatched at a few opportunities. They would love to find that first goal in these closing stages, and don't allow Villa to get to half-time and have that reset at 0-0.
Missy Kearns now out to the right-hand side. And it's Vilms, blocked well by McCabe. And that's gone for a throw-in, and it will be an Arsenal ball. It seems to come back off Lynn Vilms.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Vilms didn't seem to really care about keeping that in. I thought she could have easily got there, but didn't really seem to put the effort in. But
not sure if she realised in the moment.
No, potentially not. And they've allowed Arsenal to play out a little bit too easily there. And that'll be disappointing, but you can just tell that maybe Villa are starting to tire a little bit. This is where they really need to dig in and make sure they get to that break with their clean sheet intact.
Here is Blackstenius now. And it's Smith. Here come Arsenal. Options inside for Smith. Lays it to Little with space for the shot. Touches heavy though, and that forces it wide. Mead now. Plays it in, and that blocked by Maltby. And another frustrated reaction from Beth Mead. Yeah,
struggled in his first 45 minutes to really do anything. She's been it's not a case of not having the opportunity. She's been on the ball quite a bit, but whenever she's touched it, you read those stats out a moment ago, really struggling to have any positive impact.
Holmberg battling away as Hanson gets back in for Villa. Here's Ruben Moy. He's going to go on a drive, trying to create space wide, and it works. Here's Holmberg, one-on-one with Maltby again. Goes back to Mead. He's going to look to deliver the cross. Plays it short to Caldente, and that's one back in there. And now Missy Kearns tries to drive it out. Great stuff from Caldente. Deemed to have pulled her back, and there's no complaints there from Aliona Caldente.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough for Caldente, but I think Missy Kearns got away with one there. Should have released it a lot sooner. Yeah, she does grab the shirt, I think, which probably makes it a little bit too obvious, but up until then, she had Missy Kearns in a bit of trouble.
I mean, to be fair, when a player doesn't complain after giving away a foul, I think it's a clear indictment, either of the type of player they are or of how true that was a decision. Pass forward now from Smith. Blackstenius tries to touch it down. Lays it to Little now and has Mead as the wide option. Great position for Mead! Ooh. And that's wide of the mark. And she's got to do better there. Lovely stuff from Arsenal. They moved the ball quickly, and you can see again the reaction from Beth Mead, swearing at herself there. And she just doesn't strike this well. You can see it's all in the body positioning here for Beth Mead. She goes to strike it. It just gets slightly further away from her grasp than she wants it to be.
Yeah, slices at it because of how far away she is from it and gets it. I mean, nearly beautifully curled in the top corner, but finds the side netting. I thought Maltby got away with one there, although the Roebuck slipped over from the goal kick.
Opportunity for Blackstenius. Great work from Parker to get back in. And Roebuck goes down. I think she's feeling discomfort after that. And Blackstenia's quick to go and help her. This is worrying for Ellie Roebuck, the way she's gone down. I wonder if she's felt discomfort after slipping, but realised she had to get out there, and that may have done her more damage.
It's an incredible recovery, a brilliant piece of goalkeeping from Roebuck, but it may have been her own downfall. Really does so well. It's really obviously the kick isn't well. The kick is terrible, but she does so well to get back up and get out there. Blackstenius to be frustrated. The touch had to be better. Ran away from her a little bit. That could have been a big opportunity for Arsenal, but you just feel that the last few minutes, the Villa are just starting to be up against it. Almost takes a boot in the face.
I don't know if it's on the face. I think it says Blackstenius land, isn't it? Did it make contact with the face?
Yeah, I think her front foot, the studs, just went down her face. It's going to hurt.
Explain why Blackstenius was so quick to rush back, because I think she realised.
That's the thing. There was enough force on it for Blackstenius to realise that she had caught her. It's going to be a painful one. But yeah, last few minutes, Arsenal really put the pressure on, and you think with the chances they've had, they probably would have scored by now.
And the travelling supporters, understandably, look quite concerned there for their goalkeeper. Yeah, it's just that the boot catches her there on the top of the head, by the looks of it, at the top of the face, as they come together.
And that was
Angelo out to warm up.
I mean, she had a brilliant half, incredible half from Roebuck. Made some outstanding saves to keep this game level. And even there, she's injured herself. She put herself in the firing line.
I wonder what Mary Taylor's doing there. I think she's waving at some supporters. I don't think she was trying to test Roebuck's vision.
But it does look like a change is going to be made.
If there's any sort of gash on the face or anything, that you can't have that as a goalkeeper, because it's just going to be a constant distraction. But they are going to try and glue it together here. It's a cut just above the eye. That's incredibly lucky it's not the eye in that sort of position, but that can be a huge one. We know Ellie Roebuck has had issues before in that area, and occipital, I'm not going to get the right word, but some sort of fracture of the bone around the eye, and so this will be a concern again for Ellie Roebuck. In more positive news, Manchester United finally trusted in a young player. 16-year-old Layla Drury got off the bench and scored on debut in that 5-0 win against Burnley. Big moment for her. 16-year-old striker, highly rated in the youth academy, making her debut. And she's Welsh as well, so the Wales international team may have someone to look forward to. Yeah. Roebuck's going to carry on here, I think.
Even if
they've glued the cut above the eye.
They'll try and glue it and get through to half time, and then I think they'll probably make a proper decision. But they've deemed her well enough to carry on, which is good. I
agree there. Still ask no questions about if she's all right. And laugh at a smile. Yeah, I was going to say. I wonder what she said.
Ref's got a second career coming.
Testing out her comedy routine. Hope Mike night this weekend. But ball does get dropped, and we're back underway in this game then. 7 minutes of additional time. That will be likely 9 minutes now, because we've already gone 2 minutes into that additional period. So settle in, everybody. This game is going to be a long one already. Ruben White clearing that out of play, and that will be a Villa throw on the far side.
And as much as don't want to see your players go down, I think that was probably quite a needed reset for Aston Villa, who had been really under the pump for a few minutes there. Arsenal having some great opportunities, but Villa, they had that couple of minutes Roebuck being down just to potentially collect themselves once again, and now they're looking to end the half pretty strongly.
Yeah, indeed. Throw in taken quickly to Hijikata. Now Hansen, nice turn, ball into the area. Great chance for Maltby, brings it down, and it's wide. And that's a great intervention, but how has that not gone in for Villa?
Wow, what a chance for Maltby. And Villa have not had many chances, but that's 2 in this game that you feel were must scores. It falls, it's awkward. It does fall a bit awkwardly for her, and it forces her into taking a touch. And by the time she's managed to bring it down, hits her on both knees.
Fantastic from Beth Mead.
What a tackle.
a player who hasn't had the best of games, but got back in brilliantly there. Set piece routine here for Villa, dropped in the box. Overhead kick attempt, lashed over the bar.
Wow.
And Arsenal surviving a scare here at the end of the half.
Incredible. Again, more opportunities falling for Aston Villa. This is another brilliant ball in from Meadow Park. It gets dealt with initially. I'm not really sure why Arsenal have kept that on. Whoever it was at the far post just heads it back into their own penalty area. And then it falls.
Staniforth going for the acrobatic attempt. If she pull that off, that's goal of the season worthy.
Wow. It's just sparked into life. Villa. Suddenly Arsenal Arsenal and Villa on the ropes, and now it's flipped direction.
Catley. Now McCabe. Headed away, and she tried to loop it in behind. McCabe bounces on the second ball. Taylor now. Hansen just dropping in to receive. Staniforth plays wide to Vilms. Vilms down the line. Hitchikata peels wide to receive. Options inside. Meadow Park. Now Vilms in this wide space. Opts to go back to Moritz. Meadow Park back to Vilms. Lovely triangle combination. Hansen touch and turn now. Finds herself with no options. Brilliant work from Hansen to keep it going. Meadow Park wide to Moritz. Now Staniforth. And Villa are throwing it all at Arsenal at the end of this half. Patton lifts it over the top. Too much on that, and that will bounce out for a goal kick.
Yeah, again, Villa's turn to end the half strong here, using this additional time period wisely. Usually it's the other way around. Usually it's the team that have been sitting defensive for the game for the whole match. Usually it's them having to hold on through the additional period. But this time it's Villa, the ones who are putting the pressure on, and I feel like they probably should have scored in this game.
Yeah, they've come to life. Come to life again here. They've had their moments, but especially towards the end of this half, they've come to life, and that is really poor from the midfielder. I was trying to work out who that was. I think it was Calante, yeah. No, sorry, it just didn't look like a pass that Calante possibly could have done, given how poor it was. That's out of play. Maltby, Parker, poking through the lines. Maltby, dispossessed. Caldente now knocks it past her opponent. Brilliant recovery though from Parker. Hansen now coming inside. Great work just to drive it forwards, but Little gets in front of it. Maltby turns it over. Hansen now drives towards goal, and that shot just scuffed there. I think she struck the surface as she tried to drive power through it.
Yeah, audacious to try and beat the goalkeeper from that kind of distance. We know Kirsty Hampton's got it in her. We saw her do it last weekend against Brighton, but that one was quite wide of the mark and easily collected by Ball. But again, Villa would turn the ball over half the pitch and getting a shot from it, albeit not a very speculative effort.
Indeed. Throw in now here on the near side. Ryan says, what are Arsenal doing? Well, they're struggling to cope with Villa at the moment. Just can't limit Villa, and Villa have had chances, haven't been able to take them though.
Yeah,
Parker under pressure now, one back by Mead, who loses the duel, and Taylor turns off the field.
I spoke about at the start about the FA Cup, these knockout matches being about moments, and this game shows exactly what I mean, because at one point it was all Arsenal, and now Aston Villa won't want this half to end.
Caldente, I think they may want it now as Arsenal come forward. Smith, and that's too aggressive from Linville, from Moritz. She just seemed to push over Smith there. Smith now dives away from Lynn Vilms, and Vilms trips her up. And finally, we're seeing Olivia Smith in this game, driving that ball forwards, wanting to be an issue for Arsenal.
Yeah, again, good from Smith. Draws 2 fouls in very quick succession and does very well. Lynn Vilms catches it. Just a conversation note, gets away without being carded, which I think is pretty fortunate, because she does just push Smith to the floor as she's running towards goal. But Villa, though, are going to have to end this half with a set piece to defend.
Absolutely, Roebuck furiously instructing her wall there on their positioning. McCabe is the one who steps up over it.
I think Roebuck might want her wall to shift to the left a little bit. But if McCabe
gave that away,
I don't know. But if McCabe can get this ball on the money, maybe someone in a red shirt can poke it home.
So Katie McCabe towards the back post, cleared away. No presence from Arsenal on set pieces. Caldente through the lines, Mead across the box, blocked by the first player. Brilliant stuff from Vilms. And then that's poked out of play by Mariano Caldente, and that will be the last action of the first half here in this game between Arsenal and Aston Villa. It's still 0-0 here at Meadow Park in the Women's FA Cup 4th round. Chances at both ends, both sides threatened, neither able to break the deadlock, and we go into the break. Arsenal 0, Aston Villa 0.
Yeah, half of what could have been for both sides. Arsenal dominating majority of the play, but Aston Villa certainly landing a few blows, and will feel like they could have also found the back of the net in that one. I feel like it's the same conversations that we always have with Arsenal. Some positives to take away, but also some negatives in that half. And for Aston Villa, they'll be very happy with the challenge that they have been able to take to Arsenal today. But overall, 45 minutes and a very competitive cup tie.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the first question is, we expected coming into this game, Aston Villa would be quite defensive. Arsenal would struggle to break them down. Have either of those two things been true, or at least true to what's happened most of the time in this game?
I think on the whole, yeah, when Arsenal have had the ball, Villa have sat very deep, and then consequently Arsenal have found it difficult to break them down. If it wasn't for it wasn't until Smeela Holmberg came on really that Arsenal looked a lot more dangerous when they were coming at Aston Villa. You have to give Villa credit, because I think when they have turned the ball over, they've looked quite aggressive, and when they've managed to pin Arsenal in their own third quite a lot. But you see that real shift from Aston Villa is that if Arsenal do manage to play through into the Villa half, they do very well to get everyone behind the ball once again and sit a little bit deeper. But when they get the opportunities, they are looking to push forward. So credit to Arroyo, because it's defensive and it is a low block when Arsenal have got the ball, when Arsenal have got the ball hard at the pitch. But I think Villa are also being quite opportune, and when they sense a moment to get up and be aggressive, they're absolutely taking it. And fair play to them, because I think they're striking a nice balance of causing Arsenal enough problems without being too aggressive that they get caught out themselves. So Villa are balancing it really nicely at the moment, and Arsenal have struggled to break them down. As I said, I thought when Holmgren came on, it changed a bit, but on the whole, I think this has probably fitted the pattern that we're kind of expecting to see.
Yeah, I guess the intriguing thing there is why has Holmberg changed this first half? And I think what Holmberg gives you is someone who is a bit quicker than Emily Fox, a bit more naturally strong at carrying the ball. I think that one of her big strengths, Mila Holmberg, is that ability to carry the ball. It's like the only comparison I can make is like a Dama Traore in the men's game, where it's just so difficult to stop her. She's just a train running down that right-hand side. You don't want to get in front of it. And Maltby's had a really difficult time at stopping her. The issue is obviously is with the nature of trains. They've got one destination, and it does feel that as with that half start to progress, the reason we start to see Arsenal struggle a little bit more to create chances was that Villa were working out what Arsenal were doing in those kind of positions. They were able to double up in wide areas, and they're making it a little bit more difficult for them. I think Beth Mead has really struggled. I mentioned it a few times in the half, and I don't want to bash players over and over again, but Mead did struggle in that first 45. I think for me, that has to be something that's discussed. It's a little difficult because you've already made a sub in that first half. Maybe you don't want to make another at half time, but I think there's got to be a message about standards in there. And I think if you want to make that kind of make that kind of statement, make that kind of point, bring off Beth Mead after a performance that has really not been good enough, I think it's the exact right time to make it. Now, whether or not Slegers would do that, whether she would bring someone like Caitlin Ford in this moment, remains to be seen. But I do wonder if we could see something like that at the break. But Arsenal had the best chances to start with. Villa did really well to sort of wrangle back a bit of control in this game, albeit Arsenal still dictated the tempo. 56% of possession. They still had a lot of the ball, but. I think this game sort of played out exactly how we expected, right? Arsenal having a lot of the ball, trying to break Villa down, but Villa being able to also offer threat, especially from set pieces, but especially also from those transitional moments.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that either side will be surprised as to how the game has played out, and I think that this is where it will sit really difficult for both managers, because then their sides aren't playing badly, but they'll sense opportunities, and I think both coaches will be disappointed that their sides aren't ahead. Arsenal, as you say, have had some really good chances, especially from crosses, and there's been set pieces they haven't taken advantage of. Shock. But for Villa, there have been some glorious chances to take the lead. I mean, obviously Hijikata's was the main one, but there's been others in there where you sat there thinking you've got to put that in the back of the net. There's been a couple of pot shots as well that could have been a bit better, but it's been one of those where both sides have had the chances, to take the lead, and this is sat at 0-0 in a very close game, but it could easily be 2-0 Arsenal, but easily be 2-0 Villa. So I really think that if it carries on like that in the second half, we are in for a very, very strong second 45 minutes. But yeah, I think this is played out pretty much as we all predicted.
Incredible. By the way, I want to mention one of the other games, Women's FA Cup, briefly. Oxford United were 1-0 down going into the last 5 minutes of the game. They've won that match 2-1, an 85th minute equaliser, a 90th minute winner from Reva Castley. What a moment for them in that tie against a Middlesbrough side have been phenomenal in the Women's National League this season.
Yeah, that will hurt Middlesbrough though. What an opportunity. I think that's third tier versus fourth tier. What a chance for Middlesbrough to get through. They'll be disappointed they're throwing that away, but Oxford probably avoiding a little bit of scare there.
Yeah, I think I was trying to work out whether it is first or whether that is third versus third or third versus fourth. But yeah, I think that is Oxford pulling off a pretty incredible victory in that ability to sort of turn that game around. But yeah, I think this is what we expected from Arsenal, right? They've had some great opportunities. The best chance of their game, probably the one they didn't put even on. They didn't even take a shot. Dropping to Ruben Moy in the penalty area, swing and a miss for her though, and that was probably Arsenal's best chance of the game very early in the half.
Yeah, it's one of those where set pieces, we say this every time at Arsenal, they don't punish them enough. Another good ball in from McCabe that really should have found itself hitting the target. The fact that Moy didn't even manage to get a shot off from it will be disappointing. Completely scuffed it, kicked it into the ground, and it ran away. But that kind of effort has got to be on goal, and from that distance, if Roebuck saves that there, I'd be absolutely stunned. A massive opportunity, and realistically, if that goes in, Arsenal would have probably taken control of this match very early on. But yeah, Ruben Moy's got to do better. That simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Apart from that, though, we've seen a lot of crosses from Arsenal. Russo now's had 2 headers denied off the line. Fantastic stops by Ellie Roebuck. This is the pick of the bunch, though. How on earth does Roebuck get to that?
Yes, it's an outstanding save. It's a great ball in from Holmberg, met well by Russo, and she does the right thing. Looks to head it back across goal, looking for the far corner, and Roebuck, again, it's a brilliant piece of proactive goalkeeping. She understands where Russo wants to go and does well to push off from her right foot and get down to it. It's a great save, especially because the height that it is, it's very, very low. She's done well to get across, but also get down. It's a great save from Roebuck, who's had a really, really strong half. She made another save from a Russo header. Of course, we had that moment she got kicked in the face, put her body on the line to recover after she made the initial error. But yeah, really good half from Roebuck, but that save was the pick of the bunch.
I'm going to say there's been a bit of a debate in the live chat about whether that should have been a red card or not. Not a chance. It is not a red card. As Phil says, if we played by that rule, players would dive headfirst into opponents to get them sent off. Yeah, not a red card. Villa, though, they've had a lot of chances in this half. Hijikata with the best chance, really, or Rachel Maltby. Which one do you think should have got in more?
I'm going to say Hijikata, just because she was under no pressure whatsoever, had all the time in the world, and the header just wasn't good enough. Maltby, the ball, it really didn't set up nicely for her, and then by the time she'd been able to bring it down, players had got back in. So Hijikata's for me was a lot more clear cut and should have found the back of the net, but they were both glorious opportunities. It's the kind of one where, with hindsight, Maltby probably should have hit it first time, but she had the time to take a touch. It wasn't, it just happened to bounce up and hit her on the thigh, and then she couldn't really get it under her grasp before Beth Mead came in with a brilliant last-ditch challenge. But yeah, I think that both sides will feel like they should have scored, but Aston Villa, for me, have probably had the better chances there. Hijikata, for me, that one was the best of the game, and that really should have gone in. No pressure at the near post. Got to hit the target at the very least. If Borba saves it, that's fair enough, but to put it as wide as she did will be disappointing.
Over the bar, wasn't it? It was just got under that ball. Not a player who seems very natural in the air, but you've got to be meeting the target. You've got to be testing the goalkeeper at the very least, you say, or finding the back of the net from that range. That should have been a warning shot to Arsenal. Their defence was way too open. We saw a very similar thing from Maltby, though, where it was a slightly different situation. Obviously, the Hijikata one, it just all vacated the penalty area, seemingly. The Maltby one, everyone drawn in towards the near post, it drops to the far post, and Maltby, with that time and space, Bethany managed to get back in, but it was very last ditch. Maltby had the time in there. I know it didn't fall nicely for her, but had the time to take the touch. Unlucky not to score, but Villa with the best 2 chances of the game so far. Arsenal have also had a couple of chances, but you have to say, based on the merit of the play, that Villa should be in front at this stage, and that has to be a concern for Arsenal. That has to be something that they look at half time, and I think it should be, despite there being quite some positives in there, it should be a fairly scathing half-time team talk from Renee Slegers. They can't afford really to rest on their laurels because, yeah, they've done okay in attacking areas, but they've still not been productive in terms of breaking teams down. They've still only had 2 shots on target from six shots taken. And yeah, they did get opened up by Villa too easily in those handful of moments.
Yeah, exactly that. If Villa had been more clinical, then Arsenal could be 1 or 2 down at half time, and suddenly that looks like a terrible result. So it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. They cannot afford to be caught out as easily as they are at the moment, and it seems to be that they all seem to get drawn over to the far side whenever that ball goes out onto Villa's right, which is something they've got to stop doing because they don't need all their players over there. And it leaves a lot of space in the penalty area that Villa have utilised but not punished. But yeah, Arsenal cannot afford to keep relying on Aston Villa to miss chances. Of course, they've had some of their own, but they still haven't been as efficient as you'd expect them to be or as aggressive. I thought they had a really good spell where Holmberg was putting in some great balls, Russo had some good headers, and they were on top. But either side of that, it was a very even contest. So they've got to be careful, Arsenal, that the next 45 minutes doesn't just fly by, and suddenly we're into extra time and potentially penalties. Which that kind of scenario, it just comes down to luck at the end of the day.
Just to not discredit Villa there, the reason we're seeing Arsenal drawn wide is because of what Villa are doing in possession, the way they're dragging players out towards the right-hand side, the way we're seeing players drop into different roles. We're seeing a bit of fluidity in that Villa team. That's why we're then seeing Arsenal's defence perhaps looks a little bit stretched, and they're doing really well with the 2 forward players, the 2 strikers, in the fact that they are both very dynamic players. They're both capable of pulling into those wide channels. It's kind of what Arsenal are trying to do. The difference is, though, Arsenal have got wingers in the way, in a sense.
Yeah.
And Russo's not great at sort of making runs into the channels. So, yeah, it's been a very interesting game so far. Arsenal's best chances coming aerially, which is not something we're used to saying. But it's good to see them offering a little bit more threat from those crosses. I just wonder when if they can create something that isn't a cross in the game, because that's all they've done so far, and that's great, but they still haven't found that route to goal. They've still not taken enough shots on target, and I don't think it's their best route to goal. Can they take Villa players out of that penalty area, draw them out, and create space then for their players to play into? That's what we'll have to see from Arsenal in the second half.
Yeah, exactly that. They've got to do more. You've got to have more variation, because you mentioned it, a moment ago, but Holmberg just became too predictable. The first couple of crosses, great, but now Villa know what she wants to do. It's now up to Arsenal to find a different way to break them down. Of course, it's going to be difficult because Villa are defending very, very well, but Arsenal have got the players. They've got world-class creators on that football pitch. They have enough quality to be able to play through Aston Villa and put this back line to the sword. Roebuck's pulled off some fantastic saves as well. Don't get me wrong, but she's not Wonder Woman. She will not save everything. So keep putting her under pressure, putting them on target, and eventually they will find the route to goal. But they've got... Again, I spoke about that relentlessness, and that if you just keep putting Villa under a barrage of pressure, they will crack. We're yet to see that from Arsenal. But it's just been a bit... They had a good spell, but they've got to do it more consistently. Get shots away, put Roebuck under pressure, and they will find a route to goal. But if they keep allowing Villa to come forwards, keep getting caught out high up the pitch, then they're going to find themselves... this game is going to be even more of a contest.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to take a look at some of the live FA Cup action right now. Southampton level with Bristol City. That's going into extra time with that game drawn 1-1. The other Championship leaders also in action right now. Charlton 4-0 up at half-time against Swindon, while Birmingham away at Hull lead by 5 goals to 0. So just covering some of those live matches. The rest of the 2 o'clocks, or the 1 o'clock kickoffs have all come to a conclusion now. Comfortable wins for most of the WSL side. City winning 6-0 over Bournemouth. Liverpool 6-0 over London Bees. Manchester United 5-0 over Burnley. Brighton through as well. No shocks really
No.
yet in this competition. Could we see something in this Arsenal-Aston Villa game?
Potentially, definitely. It's our only shot left, really. I think Southampton beating Bristol City would be a bit of a surprise, but again, same division, so it's not too much of an upset. But this, you fear, would be the pick of the lot. Arsenal, probably one of the favourites to win the competition, will want to make it through the second half. That is a change for Aston Villa.
That's like Landes coming onto the field then, so a change in the back line.
That surprises me.
Wait and see who's come off. Well, Landes is stronger. I think it's Moritz. Or it could be Maltby, and they've moved Moritz to the left-hand side, which makes sense. Maltby perhaps feeling that Shuikasishu's down with some discomfort, potentially seeing her leave the field. I'm just trying to... I think Maltby's still on there, to be fair, so I think it is Moritz that's come off. But it's going to be Aston Villa to get us back underway in this game, waiting for the referee's whistle. Now knocks it back in Jakarta, and we're underway. For another 45 minutes here in the Women's FA Cup, 4th round. Arsenal and Aston Villa still tied as a goalless draw. Can either side find that breakthrough, or are we headed into extra time? Here's Holmberg. Knocks it back to Ruben Moy. An extra time stream at the first possible round.
Potentially.
Of competition, I don't think we've had anything go to extra time yet. This isn't something any games could have.
No.
Ball forwards into Blackstenius. Now Mariona Caldente out towards the right-hand side. Holmberg touches it onto Mead. Plays it inside now. Little lays it out wide. Holmberg again. Forced backwards onto a weaker foot. Here's Little. Plays it into Mead in the pocket. Wide again now. Holmberg wants to take on Maltby. That's blocked and that's away. And it will be an Arsenal corner.
Yeah, so it was Maltby replaced at the break. So Moritz has gone out the left wing back and Landes has gone in to the back three.
Yeah, so I should try to see Moritz.
Definitely was Maltby who came off. They confirmed that. But yeah, Villa, they've got to get back in. Landes it's not a nice game to come into, really, at half time. We said Maltby had done well to read what Holmberg was doing, but now a new player's got to come on and do that pretty sharpish.
Absolutely. McCabe now swings it towards the back post. Ruben Moy on target. Tipped over brilliantly by Ellie Roebuck. How do Arsenal find a way past Roebuck in this game?
Another top draw save. Great ball in from McCabe. Ruben Moy does only reach it. And again, tipped brilliantly over the bar by Roebuck. It's a good header. He's on top of the goalkeeper, but still a brilliant hand. Tips it onto the top of the bar and bounces over. That's a superb stop, but better from Arsenal from set pieces. Ruben Moy does well to meet that one. And so they go short.
Absolutely. McCabe swings it in there. Smith tries to head it. Actually heads it away from Alessia Russo. Russo now. Out wide to Smith, who wants to take on Taylor in there. Smith. Russo. Ball in towards the back post. Header across the face of goal. And that will bobble wide. And out for a goal kick.
Another opportunity for Ruben Moy. That's probably the third one she's had now in this game. She's met the ball nicely in the penalty area and not been able to convert. One was brilliant. That one a moment ago was brilliant save from Roebuck. This is not a great ball in from. It's great. It is a great ball in from Russo. Sorry, not a great header though from Ruben Moy.
Absolutely. Villa now for the first time in this half trying to play forwards. Vilms though stopped in her tracks by Katie McCabe. Caldente into Olivia Smith. Strong challenge from Vilms. Comes off McCabe. And that will be a throw in now.
Yeah,
Vilms happy just to slow it down, and the fourth official laughing at her antics there.
Yeah.
See the fourth official taking that well, because she could have got annoyed there and asked for booking.
Very light-hearted, understanding Vilms. Didn't want to take the throw, and she said, just want to take the sting out of the game. Well, that throw has not gone well for Villa and left him dispossessed.
Indeed. Arsenal now moving it along the back line. Borba. Into Ruben Moy. Now Mead. Held on too well in there by Arsenal. Landes stepped up well. Taylor touched on. In there by Missy Bocans. Here's Hansen. Needs the wide option. Chops back now, takes aim. Kirsty Hansen straight down the throat of Annika Borba. But that's smart stuff from Hansen. There wasn't the option. No one created the space, so she created the shot for herself. Took aim. Not a bad effort, but yeah, not going to test. Not enough, sorry, to get past Annika Borba.
Yeah, no. Smart from Hansen. Don't mind that at all. Well read by Borba. Saw it all the way and claimed it comfortably.
Catley steps up into Caldente now, looking for the forward pass. Steph Catley wide into Katie McCabe. Caldente, Smith. Caldente down the line. Here's McCabe. Swings it in, and that's blocked and cleared away well by Staniforth.
Yeah, Arsenal started brightly in this second half. Villa just having to weather a bit of an early storm.
McCabe. Now Catley, and that's how to play, and it will be an Aston Villa throw-in. So despite early Arsenal pressure, deadlock remains intact here.
Yeah, again, Villa have got to do exactly what they did in that first 45 minutes. Just when Arsenal are on top, limit them, just keep themselves in the game, and then look to try and break that spell when they can. This is better, just using these throws to keep progressing up the pitch, gaining a bit of ground, not allowing Arsenal to box them in too much. That's what Villa have done so well today. Is just breaking up that pressure. They're not allowing themselves to get bogged down or get stuck for long periods. They're doing well to get out when they have the opportunity. We see a lot of in these kind of cup ties, teams get too deep almost.
Yeah. Here is Alessia Rousseau. Wide now to Holmberg. He wants to take on Maltby. Mead. Pass through the lines. And that's cut out well by Taylor. And then hooked away by De Landes. Arsenal probing, trying to find the opening goal. Holmberg again. Carries down the line. Moritz keeps with her. Holmberg. Back to Mead. Now trying to create the cross. Feeds it through. Little gets away from her marker. Kim Little cuts it back. Chance for Arsenal. Goal for Arsenal. Made all by the movement of Kim Little, who burst into the half space, touched it past Dosha De Landes and cuts it back for Stina Blackstenius to score. Arsenal 1, Aston Villa 0.
Brilliant football. Brilliant football from the Gunners. Exactly what they need to do. We spoke about adding a bit of variety and cutting through Villa, and that's exactly what they've done here. Just dragged them out. And it's the substitute, De Landes, who just steps up, gets completely wrong-footed by Little's movement. Leaves a lot of space to work with. Patton's then caught in two minds because she has to go out to Little while also covering Blackstenius. Has to go out wide. Blackstenius is left with a lot of space to work with. And it's a really tidy finish into the far corner. But Arsenal, much better football. Really good start to the second half and are rewarded with a goal. But Aston Villa will be frustrated. De Landes has come on and really not adjusted into this game. Steps up there, gets it massively wrong, and that's the first mistake they've made, and it's been punished by Arsenal.
And someone finally runs into the half space for Arsenal. Really good stuff from Kim Little there. It's her movement that creates that opportunity. Villa now looking to fight back, though. And Blackstenius as well, peeling off the defender, being available for the cutback. And a good finish. There's a crowd of bodies in front of her, able just to find the back of the net through them. An important goal. Arroyo wants width. Either that or she's just holding her arms really far apart from each other. We can't be sure.
Yeah, Villa have got to react well because Arsenal have started this second half strongly. Villa have got to react and make sure that this game doesn't slip away from them.
Catley tries to knock it in behind. Patton now. Back to a goalkeeper. Roebuck under pressure. Tries to play out. Great control in there from Miri Taylor. De Landes under pressure here, and Blackstenius catches her in her pursuit of possession. And it's out now for an Arsenal throw-in.
Yeah, good game for Blackstenius. I think she's done well. Hasn't had too much to work with, but when she has been involved, she's done well. And a very good piece of play there, and gets rewarded with the goal. But that was all Kim Little. That whole move was Kim Little's just brilliance.
Hmm.
And it's
Absolutely.
exactly why Little and Canada are both better high up the pitch.
And it says, Jack, do you think Arsenal should 100% extend Stina? Yeah, I'd say so. I think I hope they bring Adjumang back and keep her as part of the squad, but I don't know if she's ready yet to have the burden of being that backup to Russo.
Mm.
And I think they still need the option of Sina Blackstenius. I don't think that Adjumang gives you what Blackstenius does, and that is someone who will run in behind, someone who will make not only the sort of selfish runs in behind to receive the ball, but the selfless ones that introduce verticality to the side and stretch the opposition back line, force them backwards. You don't get that from anyone else in this Arsenal squad. So I think, you need to keep Stina. I think if you look at the players right now who are up for contract, she's probably the most important. Cadente's already been extended a year, reportedly. And so then that only leaves people like Ford and McCabe and potentially Steph Catley, I want to say. Little, Palova. Here is Caldente. Knocks it wide into Smith. Chops back now onto her right foot. Delivered in towards the back post. Poor cross from Olivia Smith. We haven't really seen anything of in this game. Hasn't really got on the ball. A few moments where she's been able to drive inside dangerously and be fouled. But outside of that, we've not seen her really.
Yeah, exactly. I think that she'll be disappointed. We'd like to have a bigger impact on this game. But Arsenal have got to kick on. They've got that goal, but they've got to now make it count. Don't allow this game to become competitive once again, because at only 1-0, it's definitely not a foregone conclusion.
Catley. Caldente. Chips inside to Little. Now Ruben Moy. Caldente out towards the right-hand side. Holmberg. Sprays it wide. Mead does well there on the byline. Now looking for a forward option. Mead plays it into Blackstenius. Holmberg battling to hold on to possession. Moritz, though, forces her backwards, and Arsenal just seem to have a rejuvenated belief about them.
Yeah, exactly what Slegers would have been looking for going into this second half. So Villa, it could have got very difficult for Arsenal. But they've come out, started strong, got the goal, and now they're just looking to solidify that lead.
Ball in behind. Lovely turn from Blackstenius, who chops it back, and that is a high cross from Sina Blackstenius, asking a lot there of Olivia Smith. Don't know why she's gone in the air there.
No.
There's no one in there who's going to head the football, especially at that pace.
You've either got to go in the air and float it, or you've got to go hard and low, and she's gone hard and high. Which is the combination of both the wrong things to do.
Yeah, hard and high works for one thing, that's clearing the ball.
Yes, and that is what Villa would have hoped to do with that clearance, had it been a good delivery.
Throw in now, Parker. Looking to progress down the line. Battling away for the ball is once again a Villa throw-in. And they try and go up the line, but that will be an Arsenal throw now. McCabe. Again, it goes down this touchline, which is seeing a lot more action now. And Blackstenius tries to hold on to it wide there. It's been given as a foul, and Patton is understandably frustrated by that one. I don't think she did too much wrong there.
Soft one. I mean, she's got a hold of her shirt, but she's not stopping her from going anywhere.
It's a little too aggressive. The shirt hold is the it's the difficult one for me. I don't think she makes too much contact with Blackstenius, but the holding to the shirt as she goes is it's probably what's been penalised.
Yeah, it looks like a foul, and that's the problem with it. It's probably the same amount of strength as you see for any other tussle, but it's just because she's got a hold of the chunk of the shirt.
Wide free kick for Arsenal, and it will be Katie McCabe to swing this in. Can she get the delivery right? And that is a floater towards the back post. Mead, it drops to. Chops to try and create the space. Shot is tame. Ball back in from Wouben-Moy across the goal line. Starts for Stina Blackstone. It's blocked. Russo now lashes it high and wide. And yeah, Arsenal just lacking that. I mean, the ball wasn't great from Katie McCabe. It just floated up way too much. But it's the second ball for Arsenal. A couple times in there where the decision making is just a bit wrong.
Yeah, I mean, Villa, what a let-off that is. The second ball back into the box from Wouben-Moy, which was allowed to cross the face of goal. And luckily, Batsenis' follow-up was blocked because that was a bit of poor defending for everyone involved there in a Villa shirt.
Holmberg. Little. Oh, that's beautiful from Kim Little. Twisting and turning and now shifting into Catley. Caldente. Opens up her body well. Goes back to Catley. McCabe. Caldente. Lovely exchange. And this is the passing display you want to see from Arsenal. Blackstone bounces it back. Second half possession. Arsenal 72%. Villa were just 28% of the ball. It's been a much more dominant display in this second 45 from Arsenal. And that's out now for an Arsenal throw. The question will be, though, is can Arsenal find that second goal? Because a key determiner of the game early in the season was that Arsenal had a lot of the ball and obviously had scored, but ultimately they didn't kill the game off, and then Villa found a goal in the dying embers of the match from a set piece. Can Arsenal find that goal now to give themselves a cushion?
I hope so, and I think that it is very important that they do. We spoke about the United semi-final in the League Cup on Wednesday. We've spoken about the Chelsea game next Saturday. They will want to rotate. If they can't find a goal, then you're going to be asking certain key players to be playing a full 90 minutes, which is far from ideal. If Arsenal can get that second goal, it puts this tie to bed and it allows them to rotate. And they want to put this tie to bed more importantly, but also make sure they have the options to rotate.
Indeed. Delivery now from McCabe, hung towards the back post. Wouben-Moy heads across goal. It bounces around. It's on the line. And it's poked home there by Kim Little. We were just saying they need a goal. They need a cushion in this game. And indeed, they answered our question. They can find a goal. The ball in from McCabe, headed back across the face of goal by Wouben-Moy. And Kim Little instrumental in the first, decisive in the second. It's Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 0.
Yeah, it's a Kim Little show. It's a goal from a set piece. It wasn't a pretty one, but Arsenal have finally done it. Kept alive by Wouben-Moy at the back post, hooked towards goal. Ends up bouncing off the crossbar, bounces down straight into Kim Little, who has the easiest job in the world of knocking that home from about a yard. But a goal and an assist for Kim Little, a brilliant performance. A skipper's performance in the FA Cup, and that will be disappointing because Villa, as they turn to make changes, have now got a bit of a mountain to climb.
Indeed, club record signing Orion Jean-Francois enters the field for her debut. And also coming on is forward player Georgia Muller. And we'll work out who they're replacing in a moment.
Yeah, that's a big goal, especially these changes, because Villa were making a move. It's Missy Bo-Kearns coming off. So Hidja Carter would probably drop into the 10.
Yeah, and the other midfielder to make way was Staniforth. For Jean-Francois. Jean-Francois, tidy work there into Hidja Carter. Can we see a rejuvenated Villa side now? They need a goal and soon to get their way back into this game. That's poor from Wilms though, and Russo carries it forward, and that from Jean-Francois. An early booking potentially into her start here at Aston Villa.
Not a great introduction, is it? I mean, it's not her fault at all. Wilms with a really poor pass. Russo bursting away. Jean-Francois brings her down.
There's not enough of that. I get why that's a yellow card, she's breaking away, but there's not enough contact for Russo to go down the way she does. And Orion Jean-Francois booked in her first interaction as a Villa player. Smith. McCabe. Creating the space for the delivery. Runs it to the byline. Ball back now. Mead. Header on target, but an easy claim for Ellie Roebuck.
Yeah, again, really good play from Arsenal. They're all over Aston Villa at the moment. And Mead, not a bad header, but straight at Roebuck. This is really good though from Arsenal. They are dealing with a very tricky tie in a professional and thorough manner at the moment. Still, of course, a long time to go, and at 26 minutes, anything can happen in knockout football. But the way they're going about it at the moment is encouraging.
Brilliant from Jean-Francois to peel away from Caldente. Caldente pulls her back. Jean-Francois resists the urge to hit the deck and does well to keep carrying it forwards. Films now. Great delivery. Will bounce through, and Mead there able to get in front of it before it finds Maltby. Cleared away by Holmberg. And that from Taylor's just not good enough. And she does do really well, though, to recover the ball. Carrying it forwards now, Taylor. Moritz. Into Hansen, who creates the space for the cross, and the cross is fairly woeful.
Yeah, disappointed with herself there, Kirsty Hansen. Does really want to pick the ball up. Good piece of movement to wriggle a bit of room for herself, but that ball in has got to be a lot better. Lashes at it, and that has gone well over the bar. And again, it just feels that Villa reacted well. The subs will definitely help. If they, Jean-Francois has been involved a lot already, negatively with the yellow card, but also looked pretty positive with progressing the ball forwards. But yeah, Villa, they're going to need to react soon if they want any chance of turning this tie around.
I think Jean-Francois played with such a high ceiling. I think, I understand why Chelsea probably view Lexi Potter as a player with a higher ceiling. I think it's a difficult debate to have. But even at the Euros, in the limited moments where we saw her, she looked really comfortable on the ball. I think the concern will be that defensive level at the highest. The elite level, which is where Chelsea want to compete. But for Villa, I think it's a fantastic pickup. A player who's just 21 years old, I believe. Already with so much quality and the potential to be even better than she currently is. Wubben-Moy out towards the right-hand side. Here's Mead. Wants to create space for the cross. Lovely little roll back into Smila Holmberg. Brilliant fight in there from Noel Moritz. Mead. Kevin asking, when's the draw for the next round? That's tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. It's a bit of a shame they don't do the draw immediately after this. We will be live tomorrow evening for the usual transfer show, but I think we would have ended by the time the draw starts. But join us on the community tab. I'm sure we'll put on a post on there and we can interact as to what the most interesting draw is. Ball cleared away. That's poor from Wubben-Moy. Vilms now creates space for the shot. Not a good enough effort. Blocked by Catley. Vilms has to touch it down. That's poor. Couldn't find Moritz. Rousseau touches down. And that's a poor pass backwards. And Blackstone committing the foul. Barreling over Miri Taylor. And that will be an Aston Villa free kick.
Yeah, more positive from Villa since the substitutions came on. This is good work from Taylor, running back towards her own goal. Unnecessary from Holmberg. Taylor really isn't going anywhere. Doesn't need to commit that foul and presents Villa with an opportunity to get back into this game.
Surprised there's no yellow card there, I have to say.
Yeah.
Smila Holmberg, because that was a very unnecessary foul.
It was. I think the fact that Taylor was going backwards will help. But, yeah. Now that the first one's been given out, usually so often you see once the first one's gone, now everyone gets one. Maybe
absolutely
not the case here. But Villa have got to use set pieces like this, chances to get back into this game.
Indeed, and De Landes will take this. And the ball in towards the back post. Jean-Francois!
Wow.
Oh, wow, that skews off her head. Wildly, and what an introduction that could have been to life at Aston Villa. Got away from the Arsenal defence. A lack of organisation there. How does she find herself so unmarked? And just gets under it.
I tell you what, it's an incredibly timed run. Brilliant piece of movement and a great ball in, but that is just the wrong player Villa wanted in that situation.
Yeah, it's funny as well because she just meets it head on and heads straight. It's probably just going to fly past Borba with enough power, but she's trying to direct it far post, and I don't mind what she's trying to do with that, but it takes a very skilled header of a football to be able to pull that off.
It's one that, as you say, it's one of those where if you just run into it, it will go in the direction of the goal.
But Arsenal today, that is 3 or 4 times that ball's gone into the box, and they've not been able to win the aerial challenge from either a cross or from a set piece, and they just look so open in those moments. Jean-Francois, great tackle there. Won the ball cleanly on the edge of the penalty area. Here's Hijikata. Goes back into De Landes. Needs a wide option, and Moritz does pull into this wide position to receive it. Carries inside. Hijikata. Touchdown to Taylor. Now Patton, who's going to knock it wide. Parker. Now Jean-Francois. Lovely pivot and turn back there, and the same for Taylor there, who spins and slides it across into De Landes. Wide to Moritz. Mary Taylor. I can't quite hold on to that ball. Kirsty Hansen as it rolls out of play. And that'll be an Arsenal goal kick.
Yeah, Villa running out of time would have probably, if that Jean-Francois chance goes in, maybe it's a different game. But both sides now turning to their benches. Arsenal double change to try and see the game out, and Villa calling on Ebony Salmon to try and make things happen.
Yeah, indeed. I said asking, where is Leah Williamson? And another injury, calf injury apparently on this occasion. Don't know anything really about how long it's going to be, but that's all we know at this point.
Yeah, Marnham and Ford, by the way, for Rousseau and Smith.
So, like for like changes.
Yes.
That's the problem, though. That's all Arsenal have.
Yeah.
It's very similar profiles in every position.
Ooh.
And then it's Moritz off, Salmon on.
That's a change of system. A change of something.
No, it looks like Salmon's playing at right wing back.
That would be a choice. That would certainly be a choice.
It would be. I'm just trying to work out what they're doing here. Yeah, Vilm's gone to left wing back, and Salmon's playing right wing back.
Well, she wasn't scoring chances, so maybe that's the way to go.
Maybe she can arrive at the back post and score them there.
Maybe.
Vilms. Great switch of the play there to find Salmon. A player so low on confidence, and you can see that as she goes to control that.
But I don't think she has gone to control it. I think she's gone to play it first time, which is half the problem. Watch it back here. I'm intrigued to see. Maybe she does, but she looks to hit it. Yeah, she goes to hit it. I'm not really sure why she's trying to do that. Again, when you are out of form, when you're struggling in front of goal, and you're trying to side volley home a long ball
around the corner from Jean-Francois. Hijikata now trying to create space for the shot, just holds it too long.
Had to go to Mullet.
Had runners, yeah. Had runners in behind. Woober Moy now will be pressed into the corner by Hansen. Forced backwards. Mariona Caldente. Pass inside. Picked off by Jean-Francois. And Mullet's touch is loose. And then it drops for Vilms, but it's cleared away by Little. And Arsenal backs to the walls at this stage of the game. Trying to see the game out. Great touch from Hijikata. Vilms now. Villa probing. Ball in from Taylor. Headed away by McCabe. Parker keeps it alive, and she's deemed to have fouled forward in the process.
Yeah, a bit unnecessary. That didn't need to kind of just thrown herself at a ball that she was never going to reach. It gone over Ford's head as well. It's a bit of an unnecessary foul to give away there while Villa were putting on a bit of pressure.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. I don't know if she actually meant to foul Ford at all. I think she's just trying to keep that alive, trying to leap up, and Ford happened to be in front of her. She's sort of just fallen on top of the Australian. Catley. Ford. Back now to Caldente. Little turns out. And to the right-hand side now with Ruben Moy. Great hold up from Blackstenius. Caldente knocks it wide. This is nice. McCabe across the box. Ford now. A tame touch back to Roebuck. And that's got to be better from Caitlin Ford in that position. It's a really nice passing move from Arsenal as they open up Villa. McCabe here. First time across the box. It's a great delivery. That's weak from Caitlin Ford.
Yeah, really good move from Arsenal. Deserving of a goal. And they will be afforded a bit more space now on this left-hand side with Salmon playing right wing back for Villa.
Indeed, Ford picks off that poor pass. Blackstenius Now passed wide into Mead. Can she create something? Little. Forced backwards. Catley. McCabe. Passes inside, and Caldente receives on the back foot and turns out well. Pass forwards, intercepted though, and here comes Mary Taylor. And she's nudged off the ball by Blackstenius. And the ball exchanging quite quickly here, but it does now drop for Moy. Mead heads down, Hijikata wins it back. Vilms opts to go into De Landes. Kevin said Ford likely to be offloaded by the Gooners. I very much think she should be. The question will be whether she will be. I think the problem is if you want to keep McCabe, which again I think Arsenal will be a better side for moving her on, but I imagine they want to keep her. If you want to keep McCabe, you've got to keep Ford. And that's very that just makes it difficult. But I'll be interested to see what they do. I personally move them both on. I think Hines has proven herself as a very good backup to McCabe. They can bring in a left back who's better than McCabe. I think that's fine. Ford has had a really poor season. I think there's much better wingers out there. Parker, great defensive work from Ford there. He battles away, falls on the ball, and that'll be an Arsenal free kick.
Yeah, well defended by Ford. Gets back in, and again Parker just a bit too eager to get to the ball. Just too obvious what she wanted to do. Ford blocks the cross, takes the ball away, and then Parker commits the foul.
I didn't think the most comprehensive victory of the first round would come in the game between Charlton and Swindon, but it's now 7-0.
Wow.
To the WSL 2 leaders. A side who've only scored 15 goals in the division this season. They top the league through their defensive display, but they are in free scoring form against the lower league opposition. Mead slips there, and De Landes with room to drive into. And Mead is down, holding her thigh, and that's very kind from Villa to knock it out of play.
Yeah. Looks to be some kind of issue, but yeah, one of those Villa could have maybe taken advantage of that. Pelova looking also ready to come on in a moment for Arsenal. An update on the other WSL scores around the grounds. Bristol City, Southampton gone to extra time.
Yeah, that is 2-1 Bristol City, and Hull have got one back against Birmingham.
Well, comeback's got to start somewhere.
And Birmingham have now brought on a Soto Miyagawa. They've taken off Lotta Lindstrom, who did score one of the 5. Phil says we can lose Ford without losing McKay. Plenty of couples play for different clubs. Yeah, but it's a rarity, especially since I don't see where Ford would go in the WSL. Unless
I have a location that is in London, and they like buying players.
London Bees.
Yes.
Should be great at London Bees.
Should be brilliant.
I don't know if London City would sign her.
You sure?
I know they will sign anyone who, is a big name in the women's game, but I just don't know if they would sign Caitlin Ford.
Fair enough.
Possibly. I think it's very likely that both Ford and McCabe go to the NWSL.
Yeah.
I think that is quite likely. I think Arsenal will be a better side for that happening. But yeah. Nice, it should be brilliant at London City. Everyone will be brilliant at London City. Everyone is going to London City. Michelle Kang's plan is to buy all the footballers, and then no one else has any footballers, and so she wins.
They got a bit fortunate yesterday. They really did scrape them through against Sunderland.
Sound like London City.
I know. NMI Stray is, they struggled in the Liverpool game, and I get that was his first game, and it was against Liverpool side that did play okay, but realistically, Sunderland divisions below.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a drubbing this Sunday.
Who they got?
City.
Oh yeah, that could be bad. But also it goes the other way where City have looked vulnerable on the in transition.
Feels they should be good for West Ham on Ford. City have looked vulnerable in transition. London City
but they won't take advantage of that.
don't transition.
And that'll be another big sign that
Liverpool looked weak defensively in general, and London City didn't exploit that at all.
Liverpool are weak, full stop.
London City had one shot, and it was in that game, and it was it just hit Paris, and the other went directly up in the air, and they counted that as a shot. Yeah, it's not been the best of starts for El Maestro. Who says Ford will be good at West Ham? West Ham couldn't afford her. But yes. Well, that's left that side. Meadow able to bring under control.
I think London City are probably the only side that are going to come out the only WSL side that I come out this weekend still having questions about them. I think all the other WSL sides covered themselves in a bit of glory. Of course, like Liverpool had London Bees and Everton had West Brom, but I still think we saw a lot of positive sides. Like West Ham, for example, I thought that second half was really strong from them, and it was better. And again, it was Newcastle, but London City had Sunderland, so it goes both ways.
All the WSL sides have got through at this stage, apart from obviously the two clashes involving WSL sides facing each other, which is obviously where Villa will exit the competition most likely here. And Leicester obviously were knocked out earlier today. They lost 3-0 to Tottenham. But yeah, Villa coming forwards now. Can Salmon create anything? Struck low into the box, and Borba can claim that well. So your point about us being vulnerable in transition on City, I would say we look better in transition at the start of the season. Absolutely. I think Greenwood helps that. I think players understand the roles helps with that. But I also think teams will understand what City are trying to do better in the second half of the season. And so that could, that can cancel each other out. Here's McCabe. Back now to Catley. The big test for City will be that Chelsea game. I mean, obviously they play Chelsea on Wednesday night, and we'll get a good insight as to where those two sides are. But then again, the Chelsea game coming up in a few weekends' time, because at the start of the season they were completely opened up by Chelsea. Arsenal coming forwards. Ball into the box. Great claim from Roebuck. Yeah, an important 2 weeks for Arsenal. Or important few weeks for Arsenal. Women's League Cup semi-final in the midweek. That'll be a tough game against Manchester United. Then next weekend on Saturday they travel to Stamford Bridge to face Chelsea. Chelsea side who need to win that game. After that, it's the FIFA Champions Cup, where they'll be hoping to become the inaugural winners. And then they play Manchester City, and then it's the Champions League game. So a really tough run of games coming up for Arsenal. Here's Ford. Drives inside with the ball. Cuts it back to Marlon. It's poked away, and now Hijikata gets there. Touched on to Hansen now. Needs some support here, Kirsty Hansen. Takes it past Holmberg. Still driving forwards here, Kirsty Hansen. And the ball into the area. Borba gets to it and claims it well. Great goalkeeping there from Annika Borba.
Yeah, does really well. On the Champions Cup, I think this is a question more to Arsenal fans who are watching. But if Arsenal win that, but don't win any other silverware this season, does that count as winning silverware? Does that count as bringing home a trophy?
It's silverware. It's silverware that, much like the Club World Cup, won't matter for now. But I don't think it makes the season a success, I would say. It's the distinction.
Yeah. You don't sit there going, we finished fourth, didn't win the FA Cup, didn't win the League Cup, but we did win the Champions Cup trophy. Whatever it's called.
The FIFA Champions Cup trophy, I assume. I don't know if there is a...
There shouldn't be. If there's trophy in that, it's so stupid.
It's not.
Okay.
It's FIFA Champions Cup. But... yeah, I think it's not a competition. It's similar to like the old style Club World Cup in the men's game. We know it's only a placeholder for the proper Club World Cup that's coming. I don't know how that's going to go down, the new Club World Cup format. I don't know why we're playing it halfway through the domestic season. It's very much been designed for the US. Here is Ford. Can she create an opportunity? Cuts the ball back, and that's cleared away well. And Villa will look to drive it out. I don't hate it. I think it'll be interesting. I think it's a competition that's very much needed. I just don't like the fact it interrupts the European domestic season.
No, I don't. I don't like it. I think it's terrible timing. I think that it's a weird one.
But it's difficult because you can't add, the men's game added another competition into the summer, which means you play summer tournaments 3 out of every 4 years. You get one summer off.
Yeah.
And so it's a difficult balance. Because we want to see, I think the women's Club World Cup, considering the quality in the NWSL. We want to see them playing competitive fixtures against sides in Europe, and that's a great way to do it. But you've also got to think about congestion. Cadena and Pullover on, by the way, for Little and Caldente, I think it was. No. Who came out centre off? I don't see who just came off.
No, I didn't.
Behind
I only saw one player come off.
There's some behind her who looked like Mariana Caldente, but that wouldn't make any sense.
No.
But yeah. GT says Chelsea's not beating City in the WSL or the Cup. I think that's a difficult thing to say, considering what we saw at the start of the season, where Chelsea were very good against Man City. I think if they set up the same way, it'll be very interesting to see how whether City do have the answers to play against that. But I think it'll be a very competitive game either way. I don't see either side romping it.
No. I think it's the case now. They're going to meet in the League Cup semi-final on Wednesday. They've already still got to play each other in the league. They could also meet in the FA Cup. It's the kind of thing where between all these battles, they could easily go either way. Chelsea could win the League Cup game, but City win the league game. They could both be draws, and the League Cup then goes to penalties. Anything could happen, really.
Yeah, Nigel says I think if we don't lose to Chelsea and Arsenal, we'll win the league. I'm not trying to say it's a guarantee yet. I think if you lose one of those games, it becomes more difficult, obviously. And I think it would make it obviously a lot tighter. Equally, if they beat, I think Chelsea's the decisive one. Arsenal only matters if they don't beat Chelsea. Because if they beat Chelsea, it's a 9-point gap. So losing to Arsenal only close it back to 6.
And it also depends what Arsenal do. If Arsenal beat Chelsea this weekend,
that's the right hand side. Here's Mead, ball in, cleared away well.
But it's very much if Arsenal lose to Chelsea this weekend, then Arsenal and United are probably both out of the title race. I mean, I think they're probably out of it now, but
I think they are out of it anyway. Yeah, I think if Arsenal beat Chelsea, it probably just takes Chelsea out of the title race and City.
Yeah.
That's all it does.
That's what happens. If Arsenal win on Saturday, City win the league.
Yeah, unless City decide to then just bottle both games against Chelsea and Arsenal, and then lose to
the ghost
United.
of Gareth Taylor.
They play United towards the end of the season, don't they?
That'd be it, wouldn't it? City would lose to Liverpool in the return fixture.
Gareth
Gareth Taylor strikes again.
He nods it home at the corner.
Martin Thomas.
Arsenal with this corner then, and a chance to add to their tally. It's been a much better performance in the second half from Arsenal. Can they find a third? Put on the keeper. And Black Sands unable there to make anything of it. Great delivery again, though, from Katie McCabe.
Yeah.
Villa will try and play quickly. That skewed away by Roebuck. And John Francois should have done better to keep that in.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those in his second half where Villa, a poor touch or errors have crept in. Errors have crept into Villa's game in the second half, and Arsenal have taken full advantage of that.
Also, I still think City have a slip-up in them. Absolutely.
Thing is, they've got the gap to slip up. That's the problem. If they slip up, they don't get overtaken. Teams put more pressure on them, of course.
But I think by slip-up, that's not losing to Chelsea. I think a slip-up is a loss to a random, someone like a Villa or... The Brighton game earlier this season was not a convincing victory. There are those moments where I do think that they can slip up. So yeah, I think it'll be.
I'm telling you, Liverpool at home. Gareth Taylor's gonna that'll be the slip up.
Yeah, big moment as well for Arsenal today. This is the first game against top 6 opposition in the WSL they've won. Of course, it doesn't come in the WSL, but
they haven't won yet.
That is better. True. If they do win it. On Wednesday, one of Arsenal and Man United will have to beat a big team. It's a cup competition. They can't possibly draw. They will draw in every penalty. Yeah. So it counts as an official draw. But yeah.
So annoying that's at the same time as City Chelsea. Because they're 2 games. Everyone wants to watch both games.
Yeah, welcome to the WSL schedule.
Any football fan in the world wants to watch both those semi-finals.
Yeah. Corner now for Aston Villa. Ball into the area. That bounces through. Chance for Salmon, who skews it. She's just so low on confidence, 77.
Yeah. It's not going to happen, is it? It just doesn't feel like it's a massive problem as a striker when every time you take a shot, it just doesn't feel or look like you're going to score.
Yeah.
And there for Salmon, it sits up quite nicely, but you just felt if she bounced that ball, that was never going to hit the back of the net.
Yeah, an 8th goal for Charlton.
Wow.
As they continue their romp of Swindon.
So they've scored over half of their complete tally in the league in one game. Of course, Swindon, again, they're a 4th tier side, but I think they'll be disappointed with the manner of that defeat.
6-2 Birmingham as well. So Miyagawa getting in on the act there on her debut.
That is 2-1 Hull, though, in the second half. Saying they lost the first half 5-0.
Yeah. If they'd only if they'd shown up earlier rather than at half time, they might have been all right. But yeah, I think ultimately what we're seeing now though is that the WSL can be dictated by European football. City undoubtedly have the second strongest squad in the league, arguably the strongest starting 11. I'd still say Chelsea is stronger, but this season you can't argue City have played the best football in the league. But Champions League football helps to no end in terms of being able to manage those games, manage the load.
Yeah.
We've seen that be a pattern over the last few seasons where the team that doesn't have Champions League football is able to excel. It's the reason that we saw United get Champions League football last year. And if United were stronger, arguably, they could have competed for the title. It's the reason we saw City almost win the league the season before. And the season before that, it was Manchester United who went closest. In all those seasons, the team that have been the closest to winning it, ultimately, obviously, Chelsea have won every time, but the team that have run them closest has been the side without Champions League football out of those top teams.
And even on the flip side, the team at the deepest last season, Arsenal, in winning it, finished third and end up nowhere near the league title.
They finished second in the end, I think.
Did they finish second? What did United do at the end of last season? Did they just stop playing? They did, yeah, because they beat United on the last day at the Emirates.
The penultimate game, wasn't it? Well, it might be the last game, actually, yeah.
Yeah, because United were right there with Chelsea and then magically end up finishing third.
4 points ahead of them, Arsenal, in the end. Despite the fact that Arsenal lost to both Villa and Brighton in the last month of the season.
What do United do? They play football.
Yeah, I mean, United weren't too bad. I mean, they had April was disastrous. They drew with West Ham, lost to Chelsea, drew with Man City, lost to Arsenal, then lost the FA Cup final.
I forget, they had those three. They had Chelsea, City, Arsenal at the end of the season, yeah.
And they lost to Liverpool as well, 3-1 in March.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Olivia Smith making sure she'd have Champions League football for the next season.
Yeah, that was her plan.
Lloyd says, Jack, you said a few times recently Chelsea is stronger. Do you mean on squad depth? Because I don't think they can actually put a better 11 on the pitch compared to City. I think both. I think the 11 is a lot closer in terms of squad. So when we talk about squad depth, that's referring to squad depth. That's referring to the quality of those other options. 9-0 Charlton, by the way. But I still think Chelsea's starting 11, I think it's very close, but I'd argue Chelsea's starting 11 is stronger than Man City's. I do think it is incredibly close, though. It just comes down, it ultimately is a matter of opinion on whether you judge different players, how you judge different players.
Yeah, it's for me, it's all a basis of on the day, because if you get Lauren James on her day, Lauren James at her best,
I think even Lauren James at her worst is incredible.
Still a very good player, but again, if Khadija Shaw's firing on cylinders, she's the best player on the pitch between the two sides. If Lauren James is playing at her best, she's the best player on the pitch between the two sides. So it's really difficult. They kind of just go blow for blow when you consider the key players and all that.
Yeah, Arsenal free kick here as they look to add to Italia, a game which feels all but done. Villa have tried to offer some sort of threat, but failed really to find a route to goal. McCabe over this. Who can she pick out? Ball delivered low. It's a little routine they've tried there, Arsenal, but Roebuck able to act quickly and jump out to it. Now, Wagwan says Hasekawa and Shaw are the only ones who start in the Chelsea squad. That is
I don't think so.
Debatable. Who else do you have in there? I'd argue you'd find a way to put Lauren Hemp in there.
Yeah. I think defensive.
But Thompson's not miles off her.
Again, I think you have to say you're talking right now because, of course...
Here's forward, chops onto her right foot, takes aim, wide of the mark. Try to drag it towards the near post. Probably should just opened up her body and struck a cross goal there.
Yeah, not a bad effort at all. But as you say, probably made the wrong decision. The play to cut inside was nice. Again, a good move from Arsenal. Did fall kindly to Ford with a deflection. Couldn't quite make the most of it.
Lloyd says several. Nigel says that's bait, and Lloyd says several City players have never been in better form. Doesn't mean they're better players, though, just because they've been in better form. I think if you asked a manager and you took both squads, both sets of players, build the best team you can. I think it's difficult because I love Kirsten Kasparov, but I don't think she's a better fullback than Bronze or Carpenter. I think you'd probably say. I guess it all depends on what manager and what system they'd want to play, but it'd probably some sort of Knack and Germa back too.
Yeah. Again, I think it has to be that right now because, of course, like over the if it's just all time, really.
Green was fantastic. Obviously, Bright's that would be the all time. Greenwood and Bright, what a partnership! But yeah, you'd have Knack and Germa. Like left back there, depending on what system you're going to play, but it would be Baltimore or Greenwood. Neither have got real natural left backs that you would include. Pivot is difficult, but I'd say Walsh edges over Coffey for me. I think Walsh is incredible. Hasegawa has to be in there, one of the best players in the world, undoubtedly. You probably then put in Lauren James in the 10, absolutely. I think wingers is difficult. Shaw starts up front, of course. So how do you fit Sam Kerr in? Chance now wide at the far post there for Black Saints. Managed to get in behind again, Arsenal. It's difficult because you have to have Sam Kerr in there, but how do you can't have two strikers coexisting.
No.
Maybe Hemp. I mean, if you put Hemp on the right wing, James on the left coming inside, two strikers, and then Baltimore on the left to create the width.
Maybe.
There you go. If Chelsea and City combined, they can beat Barcelona.
Oh, they'd beat everyone. They'd win every game.
Yeah.
By 5 goals or more.
Ball cleared away by Catley. Brought down well by Patton, and that's blocked away by Marnham. And they still wouldn't have Arsenal's attendances, so they've always got that.
That is true. That is very true.
But yeah. Parker. Plays it in behind. McCabe wins it. And it drops now for Taylor. I love the debates we can get into on Aston Villa Arsenal.
Yeah. Well, it just sums up Arsenal.
Who's the combined 11 here?
It just sums up Arsenal this season.
Yeah. I mean, they've killed the game, and that's good. Arsenal, the thing I'll praise them for is full time here. The thing I'll praise them for is so often this season they get to 1-0 and go into this state. Yeah. But they got to 2-0 today, and then they really nullified the game. Professional performance from Arsenal. Arsenal 2, Aston Villa 0 here at Meadow Park. Really strong stuff from Arsenal. They got the goals they needed today. First half wasn't good enough. Second half, they stepped up massively. Kim Little, instrumental in that turnaround. And Arsenal were able to rotate, able to rest up. And it's a big couple weeks coming up for the Gunners. But this was an important victory and important progression into the next round.
Yeah, very nicely dealt. A very tricky tie, and they dealt with the challenges in a professional manner. They didn't underestimate Aston Villa, but they also didn't give them too much to work with. Very nicely balanced by Arsenal. Got the job done. Main thing is they're into the 5th round. Navigated a very tricky side in Aston Villa, who for the most part of the game put up a steely resolve, but in the end the quality of Arsenal came through. But yeah, very deserved Arsenal. Really good second half performance. Credit to Villa for playing their good part. They're playing their part in what was a very good cup tie. But yeah, all eyes now will be on that 5th round draw, because you look at some of the teams in it, and you could get a really favourable tie, but you could also end up getting a very difficult opposition.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlton have got to double digits. 10-0 Charlton Athletic against Swindon.
Wow.
Surely they're coming up.
That is absurd.
They've only scored 15 in the league this year. They've hit 10 in one FA Cup game. Why don't they be more interested in the league? Wow. But there we go. Big win for Charlton. Phil says, has LJ ever played in the 10 consistently? She's great, but does she actually have a set position? The problem is she's been injured a lot. I think the 10 is her best role. And I know people do disagree with this naturally. I think even you would disagree with this, but I still think Lauren James is the best player in the world. I think, obviously, Khadija, I mean, it's very difficult to compare different roles and stuff, but I think they're all, she's got to be in that conversation at the very least. She looked brilliant in that game against West Ham, just playing free role. where they've basically just built a structure where Chelsea just have a ring of footballers and Lauren James just does whatever she wants. So it's 10 players, they're in a structure, and Lauren James is the fluidity. But I think it's going to be a great game on Wednesday night between Chelsea and City. Join Harry for that here live. I unfortunately won't be here. But I will be back for this weekend. This weekend, we will both not be here for Saturday, actually. Apologies. Yeah. We will both be at Chelsea taking on Arsenal. So if you are going to the game and you are a Chelsea fan, feel free to come over and say hi. And if you are an Arsenal fan, you are welcome to say hi. But if we chant Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea in your face, that is on you.
That is not that won't happen. We are nice, respectable people.
We're not hooligans. But Harry is bringing flares.
Yes.
But hope the Chelsea security team are watching that one. We get kicked out before we even get there. But yeah, I think it will be a very good. We've got some big games coming up this week. These are the exciting game weeks, aren't they? Where we start to learn more about their season. For Arsenal, though, as they are the topic of the stream, a big week for them. A trip to Chelsea coming up at the weekend. They face Man United in the week as well. 2 wins there, and suddenly their season's right back on track. 2 losses, and they're dumped out of one cup competition. And well, it looks very difficult for them to qualify for the Champions League, or it makes qualifying for the Champions League very difficult if they lose on Saturday. So we'll see what happens there. That though is everything from us today. This FA Cup round 4 is over. We are into the last 16 next up, I believe, which is round 5 before moving into the quarterfinals. So that is everything from us today. The draw is tomorrow, 7 o'clock. As I say, we'll have that out on our polls, on our community tab once that's out. So keep an eye on there. And join us tomorrow for the Women's Football Transfer Show. We'll be live from 5 o'clock to discuss everything that's happened in the transfer rumour mill over this last week. So join us for that. That, though, is everything from us today. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.